Philadelphia, the best record in the NFC, trying to nail down a first-round bye and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Let's check in downstairs. The pride of Freehold Township, New Jersey. Peter Schrager.
Tom, no Carson Wentz, but if you thought the Eagles treated this like a funeral all week, you got the wrong team, you got the wrong locker room. Nick Foles is the man, and they're all behind him. The offense will not be scaled back one bit. Doug Peterson said Foles is our backup for when Wentz is there, but he is our starter, not only for today, but for the rest of the way, and hopefully a Super Bowl run. They're all in on Nick Foles. Eagles ready to go.
All right, the Eagles won the toss. They deferred to getting the football in the second half. So the Giants will start on offense. What a job Doug Peterson has done. If they win today, they clinch the first round bye. They get home field advantage with a win and a Minnesota loss. That went into the end zone, and here comes Eli Manning. Chosen, of course, number 1 in 2004 by San Diego. Came over in a trade. You see his numbers. 27 career touchdown passes at home against Philadelphia. It should be noted, Manning is just 10 wins and 16 losses in his career against Philadelphia. Two teams had a wild game when both were at full strength, especially the Giants on offense back in week 3. 2 teams combined for 37 points in the fourth quarter. That's a second-year receiver, Sterling Shepard, up to the 30, a gain of 5, and the rest of the Giants on offense. And we figure to see a lot more Wayne Gallman Jr. this week.
Yeah, and also take a look at Evan Ingram, number 88. He'll line up a tight end, slot, and wide receiver, a tight end body with 4.42 speed, a rookie out of Ole Miss.
Mike Sullivan now the play caller after the firing of head coach and play caller Ben McAdoo. And out of the shotgun, another short crossing pattern and another completion. And again to Shepard. Philadelphia on defense, among the very best in all the NFL.
Yeah, take a look at Fletcher Cox, who will cause havoc inside. And this is what we were talking about, going up tempo for the Giants to get Eli in rhythm. These young receivers in rhythm. Got him. Free play.
Free play for Eli. He's going to put it up down the sideline for King and batted away by Jalen Mills in coverage of Tavares King.
They just seem to operate better. When you go no huddle, you force the defense to show their hand a little bit. Also,
offside. Defense number 93. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
You have the ability to control the substitution, any type of matchup that the Eagles want to get in, or personnel groupings by going no huddle. That is in control of Eli Manning.
And it's not too tough to get this Philadelphia D to jump. That's 16 times now they've been whistled for offsides penalties. That's third most in the NFL. If you're wondering, the league average at this point in the year is 9 of them. Another short throw and another completed pass. This one to Roger Lewis Jr. There is a penalty flag on the play.
It's a little bit of the RPO, the run pass option. The Giants are copying this right from the Eagles playbook, which we'll see Nick Foles run.
Holding. Offense number 74. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's a left tackle Eric Flowers. There are changes along that offensive front. The right tackle Justin Pugh has been out with a back injury. Finally goes on IR. Chad Wheeler, the rookie out of USC, starts there. And Bobby Hart is getting the start today at right guard. He played right tackle last week. Sitting down right in the middle of that zone is Shepard, already his 3rd reception. And second down upcoming. You know the story on Eli? From week 11 of the 2004 season to week 12 of this year, he started every game at quarterback for the Giants. 210 in a row. That ranks second all time among quarterbacks in league history. Brett Favre started 297 straight. And the catches made by their leading receiver, the number 1 pick out of Alabama, the tight end Evan Ingram. He leads his team in not only receptions, but yards and touchdowns as a rookie. And they're hurrying it up on his 3rd down and 3.
I like what they're doing. They're seeing matchups, and Eli is recognizing matchups that he likes against the Eagle defenders. And they're exploding those, getting rid of the ball in a hurry.
Good throw and a tough catch in traffic. Excellent reception by Ingram. And right there with him was Ronald Darby.
Well, this is where size matters for the receiver up against the corner. The ball's thrown high and away, only where Evan Ingram can get it. And he's a matchup nightmare for corners, for safeties, and linebackers because of his size and speed. An excellent combination. Getting better each week, Evan Ingram.
Eli 5 of 5 to start the game for the Giants. They have not scored a touchdown on their first drive all season. And they're getting closer on this completion to the Columbus, Ohio native out of Bowling Green, Roger Lewis.
So you hit a bunch of short passes, quick throws, right? Now it's all a setup. We're going to have a slant and go. There's a slant and a double move go, and Eli has perfect timing, throwing it to the outside shoulder, only where his guy and no guy gets it. And that's all the setup because of all the quick passing games they were going.
118, what's it?
This is Gallman, who touched the ball 19 times last week. He had 99 yards from scrimmage against Dallas, 12 rushes, also caught a career-best 7 passes out of the backfield. And that is their first running play of the game, and it went nowhere. They jumped again, another free play. And it's caught inside the 10-yard line by Sterling Shepard.
They're forcing the Eagles to play a really vanilla-type defense because when there's a no-huddle as a defensive...
Defense number 96. The penalty will be declined, and the result of the play is a first down.
As a defensive play caller coming into the game, you have a game plan against certain formations. You're only going to play 2 or 3 defenses. So this is something that they're keeping note of in the press box. When we go no-huddle in this information, we know they're going to play this defense, and we run a play to attack that particular defense. You're showing your hand.
Where's the hut? 118, what's it?
Ninth play of this opening drive. And the Stonewall meeting Orleans Darkwa, their leading rusher on the season. Nashville, Tennessee native, his 4th season as a Giant, but the first time he's ever been a starter. Took over week 6. And Nick Foles waiting for his chance.
Like to work Ingram down here in the red zone.
Excellent protection. And is that a catch and a drop? No, incomplete pass to Shepard. Favorite target of Eli early on. Already 4 catches on this opening drive, so now it's 3rd and goal.
And Shepard's going to come across the line of scrimmage, and from a slow motion point of view, it looks like he catches the ball, but he certainly did not secure it when he hit the ground. Big 3rd down.
Eli dragged down from behind by Vinny Curry, his 4th sack of the year. So after an excellent drive to move down the field inside the 10, and now there's a penalty flag in the corner of the end zone that comes in late. This could be a huge call.
Holding. Defense
It
number
is.
31. After the system go, automatic. First down.
How about that on Jalen Mills, a first-year starter out of LSU?
Jalen's doing a good job of filling in, and we're taking a look at up top. Jalen Mills, and we'll see where the holding is. Right there, he hooked him. You didn't need to. You had good position, plus you had help inside. You have to trust yourself and not panic just because the receiver's running in the blue. Your position was fine.
Robert Thomas checks in.
118, what's it?
In the front of the I formation, they fake it to Darkwa. And Eli rolling, he'll just throw it away. Pressure applied by their leading sacker on the year, and Brandon Graham, already a career best 8.5 sacks for this longest tenured member of the Philadelphia defense.
He's had a great year, and I'll tell you, Nigel Brodham did a great job of disrupting Ingram at the point of the line of scrimmage where he could not release out into the flat. Good discipline by the Eagle defense in their man coverage.
Steve Spagnuolo named the interim head coach 2 weeks ago. Lost last
118.
Sunday
That's it.
to Dallas. They hand it off to Darkwa. He is the only Giant with a rushing touchdown so far this year, and he's denied the end zone here by Najee Good. 13th play of this drive coming up for the Giants.
Talked to Coach Spags on Friday. He told us about Giant pride. It means something when you walk into the building that these guys aren't going to tank. They're going to be professionals. Well, you're down here on a 1.5-yard line. It's time to show Giant pride, because this is where you fight to win and keep yourself going. Show people you're not quitting.
They hand it to Darkwa, and he falls into the end zone. A touchdown, first time all year long. The Giants have come up with 6 on their first possession of the game.
Well, Red Ellison does a tremendous job here. I mean, everything is good, but watch number 85. He's going to combo block, stop here, then continue his block on the cutoff. We're getting a pull around and a kick out. See Red Ellison right there, just get in front of Kendricks just enough. He helped with the double team, and Darkwa does a nice job of going north and south, getting in the end zone. And Spags was right, at least on that first drive. There is Giants pride.
It's been one of the great organizations in the history of the National Football League. And clearly, outside of last year, this will be a 4th season in the last 5 with a losing record. But tremendous pride in this Giants franchise, and that one is blocked. Derek Barnett looked like he got a hand on it. So 6-0 after the Darkwa touchdown. Nick Foles when we come back.
When you're a team that struggles to score points, you need every point you can get, and it's a lot of it's technique. First of all, Barnett's going to get skinny and turn his shoulders. Flowers needs to get that right arm up and punch. His arm is late. Barnett turns his shoulders, quick swim move, and gets into the kicking lane. You're averaging 15 points a game. You're 31st in the league. You're playing a playoff team. You don't give away points.
So that one down on one knee, and let's check in very quickly with Carissa Thompson in Los Angeles.
Thank you very much, Tom. Vikings chasing the Eagles. Opening drive of the game, Latavius Murray scores from 1 yard out. Minnesota clinches the division with a win. Vikings up 7-0. Tom?
Hi, Carissa. Thank you. We get a look at 28-year-old Austin, Texas native Nick Foles. Came over as a free agent from Kansas City. You know the story on Foles. Drafted by the Eagles in the 3rd round in 2012. He started 24 regular season games. Was a starter the last time Philadelphia went to the playoffs in 2013, and he had a great year. First throw complete to Alshon Jeffrey, and that'll be a gain of 12. In that year, Foles had 27 touchdowns and threw only 2 interceptions. He got hurt a year later, wound up being traded. And a lot of changes along that offensive line. No Stefan Wisniewski at left guard.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, the right side has been good, and the receivers have been outstanding for the Eagles. They do a great job of spreading the ball around and make you defend the whole field as a defense because of the variety of areas they attack all over.
Of course, their tight ends have been a huge factor, even without Zach Ertz playing regularly, and that is Ertz on the reception. And excellent coverage by Landon Collins. When you talk about Collins, he leads the team in tackles, went to Pro Bowl a season ago. And, you know, Chris, he injured his ankle last week. He's ready to roll here 7 days later.
He's a baller. And I think when you're rebuilding the team, which they'll be in rebuild mode after the season, you want to get people like Landon Collins that sign their name each and every week to what they do, more importantly, how they do it.
Catch by Ertz was a loss of 2, and they will give it to Jay Ajayi. And a penalty flag down on the play. Ajayi playing in his 6th game since coming over in that trade from Miami.
So we talked to Doug Peterson.
Illegal use of the hands, hands to the face, number 90, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Jason Pierre-Paul.
Doug Peterson told us incrementally that Jay Ajayi is going to get more and more involved, and I happen to think that's the right call. I think LeGarrette Blount's a nice number 2 back to bring in there, but it won't be long before Ajayi is the #1 guy. And I think personally he needs to get at least 20 touches a game. He has that kind of ability.
Well, in the game last week, he had 15 carries for 78 yards in that wild win over the Rams, and LeGarrette Blount only played 15 snaps in that game. They fake it to Ajayi. Foles rolling and finds the open receiver. Bobbled in the air, and did he catch it? That's Aguilar, and it is a reception, at least for the time being, at the 41-yard line.
Aguilar does a good job of maintaining focus and concentration. See Pierre-Paul trying to get in the throwing lane. That 6'6" body, clearly a catch of Nick Foles as they go hurry up, helped him throw over Pierre-Paul.
Darian Thompson knocked it loose, but it fell right back into the arms of Aguilar, and here comes Ajayi. And he's inside the 40, down to the 38-yard line. A gain of 3 on first down for Ajayi. What a year he had last year. It's hard to believe a guy who had the kind of year he had became available a year later. He ran for nearly 1,300 yards, went to the Pro Bowl, and it looks like Aguilar is shaken up going to the Philadelphia sideline. He is.
Hopefully that's not serious. He's a big part of this and really excelled once the Eagles moved him into primarily the slot receiver position. He can work those matchups when you're in the slot on linebackers and safeties.
They were screaming and yelling this time a year ago that Aguilar was a draft bust in the first round. How about that head fake by Foles? Now lofts it to the end zone. And that'll be pass interference called down there on Darian Thompson. Trying to stay with Torrey Smith. Well, what a move that was by Foles. Just a subtle move you see frequently in basketball.
Pass interference. Defense number 37. By rule, the ball is placed on the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Well, I mean, you're just going to show right here where Pierre-Paul is going to come in on him. And what happens, he jumps and leaves his feet. All he has to do is put his shoulders through the rib cage of Foles. And I like the interference call because you're beat like that and Thompson had to tackle him or it was a sure touchdown. At least you gave your team a chance to fight. If you're beat, go ahead and tackle the guy, live to fight another down.
They bring in Corey Clement to the backfield, the rookie out of Wisconsin. He leads his team with 4 rushing touchdowns.
Well, we got a big leaner here with 67.
Clement is inside the 5, down to the 3-yard line. Second down and goal. Stop made by Damon Harrison. Harrison's had a nice year. He's played through some injuries, his ankle, his elbow, most recently a finger injury.
Snacks, as they call him. He's getting a little bit of a read right here because he's way off the ball, so that's a cutoff block. Harrison reads it nicely, and he moves really well, Tom, down the line of scrimmage. Last week against the Cowboys, he made a couple tackles on a screen and checkdowns. For 340 pounds, he's helping your linebackers make tackles at mid-level range. It's well done. Versatile.
Aguilar checks back into the game for Philadelphia. Second down. All day to throw. And in the back of the end zone, that is Alshon Jeffrey, and that is a Philadelphia touchdown. So on his first drive as a starter, Foles marches a team down the field. He goes 4 for 4 on the drive and a point away from a 1-point lead.
Well, he gets a tremendous protection because they're only rushing 3, right? Then you watch Jeffries run to the post. Now watch him work back. Foles throws it only where his guy can get it. He's on time and on target in rhythm, and you can see why this guy has won 20 ball games as a starter at this level. And that's only going to grow the confidence of his teammates, both offensively and defensively.
Of course, on every scoring play, they will look to see if the call stands. Did he get both feet down inbounds?
Well, that's close on that right foot when he made the turn and pivot. He's right on it.
If you go out of bounds, you can't be the first player to touch the ball.
We'll review the play.
So in other words, if you step out of bounds and you come back inbounds, you can't be the first person to touch it. Dean Blandino is with us from Los Angeles. Dean, how do you see this, what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I think the issue here is going to be, did the receiver step out right there with his right foot before reestablishing inbounds and catching the pass? I haven't seen an angle yet that shows the foot clearly out of bounds. Looks like he's on his toes. The toes are in bounds. He does get both feet inbounds after completing the catch. And to me, the call on the field should stand here.
Yeah, it looks like his heel was off the ground. You're right, Dean. I think on the pivot, his right foot. That's a great ball. Good catch, good hands catch by Alshon.
We thank Dean Blandino back in Los Angeles. He'll be with us throughout the entire telecast as part of our NFL on Fox team from the Meadowlands here in New Jersey.
How about that start of Nick Foles, huh? 4 for 4, just in command, making decisions, moving well in the pocket.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
That's now 7 receiving touchdowns in the last 6 games for Alshon Jeffrey. The 2 guys in the red zone on this team have been Jeffrey and Ertz.
It's been a nice pickup from the Bears.
So now the point after by Elliott. And it's right down the middle. So, Nick Foles. A lot of people in Philadelphia wondering how would he come out here today. So far, real good. Brooklyn Bridge, that's where Peter Schrager goes back and forth every day, making his way into the NFL Network.
King of New York.
He is.
Greg's.
He actually had someone down on the field when we were here 2 weeks ago for the New York Jets that tied his shoe.
Yeah.
So Peter Schrager on the field.
He's got people. He's got people everywhere.
And that's when you know you officially arrived.
Yes.
When others are tying your shoe and you're over 5 years old. A bouncing ball to Khalif Raymond. Well, it's been an ugly year on multiple fronts for the Giants. They've allowed nearly 400 yards a game, worst in the NFL. All the offensive linemen and the combinations in and out. 18 players hurt on injured reserve, second most in the league, second only to the 49ers. And of course, it really came to a head ultimately when Ben McAdoo, their head coach, made the decision to sit down Eli Manning. It wasn't so much, I think, that they made a change. It was how they made the change. And a week later, of course, McAdoo and Jerry Reese were out of a job. Let's check in with Carissa Thompson in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Tom. We go to Carolina on the Panthers' first possession of the game. Cam Newton finds Christian McCaffrey for this 7-yard touchdown. Panthers up 7-0, but the Packers driving right now. Tom, Chris, and Peter.
All right, Chris, in that NFC South, man, there's a lot going on with Carolina, New Orleans, Atlanta, all trying to get into the playoffs.
118,
Eli looking around and throws short as he takes a hit from Vinny Curry.
Just a little poor decision there by Eli. He had Darko out in the flat right away and hesitated just a tad to get knocked off balance to come up short on the pass. Usually he'll make that read a little bit quicker.
So they'll go into a sugar huddle, as they call it. Wide receivers already spread out, and then the linemen just gather quickly with Manning on this 3rd down and 5. There's that slant pattern, and that's been very successful to start this game. That's a completion to the rookie Ingram that'll move the chain.
Well, that's where they're going to attack. He has a lot of confidence in the young rookie, even though he has, according to one organization, the most drops by a tight end. He's getting better and more confident, and I think he knows that Eli trusts him. That's his guy. That's who he goes to right now.
Both these quarterbacks razor sharp in this opening quarter. Manning 8 of 11. That's Darkwa. And not much there in the running game so far outside of the short touchdown run by Darkwa on the first Giants possession. Fletcher Cox, 2-time Pro Bowler, in there on the stop.
So we talked about, we're raving right now about Ingram as a pass catcher, right? Not so much as a blocker. Take a look here. He's going to throw a no-hitter on Fletcher Cox. Watch this. He almost didn't want to have anything to do with that. His job is to knock him off. That's called a wham block. You have to seal him. He didn't seal him.
And then a drop by Shepard. Drops have been a major issue for the Giants as well this year. That's a 23rd drop pass of the year, 4th most in the league.
He had a big drop last week against the Cowboys, and You know, you got to make that catch. It almost looked like from that angle his eyes were closed.
Third down and 9, and down the middle of the field again. It is his main man, as Chris called him a moment ago. Evan Ingram to the 32 and a New York first down.
When you have a two-safety deep look right here, you have to carry this all the way down. You have to carry. Jenkins has to carry the tight end back to the safeties because that's a vulnerable area in between the safeties.
Short pickup by Shane Vereen. First time we've called his name today.
Right here, it's a good hands catch, and eyes follow the ball to the hands. Excellent job. Reminds me how I used to get my kids to get their hands up. Started throwing baseballs at their face. Start off with Nerf balls. You start throwing baseballs at their face.
Girls.
Yeah, you throw baseballs at their face. I'm telling you, their hands go up really quick. And they don't body catch anymore.
Great day. 2:45 to go in the quarter. And that is another first down. And again, that is Roger Lewis. Well, what a nice pickup he's been. Second-year receiver, didn't play much at all last year. And now 30 catches for Lewis this year out of Bowling Green.
I'll tell you, the offensive line and Bobby Hart's playing right tackle, normally a guard. They've been solid up front, giving Eli a nice pocket to survey the field. And when he has time, he can still throw darts.
Handed to Gallman, and the rookie out of Clemson slips inside the 20 down to the 18-yard line. It's a good-looking young player here. They found him in the 4th round for the national champion Tigers of a year ago.
I really liked him at Clemson. He's a two-way threat, good hands, good route runner. Not very big, but I'll tell you what, he runs big. He's tough, and he breaks tackles. Got him.
Lofted to the end zone, and that is a touchdown for Tavares King.
You have to play discipline and technique. If you're responsible for the deep half of the field, back here, you don't jump. You don't guess. That's just a complete setup and an outstanding route by King to sell that. Eli throws it where his guy can get it. Easy pitch and catch. Setting the young guy up, Jalen Mills. Got nosy. Took advantage.
Now 49 career touchdown passes for Manning against Philadelphia. That ties him for the most of any opponent. He's also thrown 49 against the Cowboys. And a lot of Giants fans, as a point after is good, are wondering right now, where has this offense been all year long? Some emotions over there on that Philadelphia sideline. That's Patrick Robinson.
Well, you got to keep your composure, and I get it. You can get upset and things happen on those sidelines, but the most important thing is that play in that series is gone forever. What's your adjustment? Stop getting beat on double moves. That's 2 slant and goes that secondary's been burned by. And one cost him a touchdown, and the other was a big gainer.
All right, so now Nick Foles will try and answer. You know, it's really incredible to start 2 careers of Wentz and Foles. Their first 29 starts. Look at Wentz, 18-11, 17-12 with Foles, then with Philadelphia. Passing yards, nearly identical. Touchdowns to interceptions, virtually identical. And a slightly higher passer rating. I mean, for all intents and purposes, when Foles took the Eagles to the playoffs back in 2013, it was his second year in the league, but it was his first year playing.
Well, he's very comfortable in this offense. A lot of Chip Kelly's offense is still part of this offense, that RPO, that run-pass option, and Nick certainly had his best year in a similar offense.
Into the hands of Aguilar, shaken up earlier, and now a gain of close to 10 on first down. Peter?
And guys, Nick Foles is not just a typical backup quarterback. He's a player who was a free agent this offseason. And I can tell you, knowing from sources, that the Buccaneers talked to him, the Colts talked to him, the Chiefs talked to him. The Eagles did not offer him the most money. He wanted to go back to Philadelphia and finish what he started.
Well, he's got a chance this year to put himself in the all-time history and minds of Philadelphia Eagles hardcore fans. Big run by Barner. And he's across midfield to the 49, actually just short of midfield. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
All right, Minnesota trying to keep the heat on the Eagles for best record in the conference. Well, they're doing it right now. Eric Kendricks picks off Andy Dalton, goes all the way back 31 yards for the pick six, and they're up 14-0 still in the first quarter. Tom, Chris, and Peter.
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. This is Barner getting some carries here today. Those have been few and far between. You know, Barner originally broke in with the Eagles. They let him go. He wound up in training camp in the preseason with the Chargers, and then they brought him back after they let him go in week 4.
I mean, I'll tell you, running backs take such a beating. If you have one that knows your system and that you trust, you keep him on your short list. I like the fact they're going up tempo now, giving the Giants a little dose of their own medicine.
And Foles is hit from behind. The ball is loose, and Barner tried to pick it up initially, couldn't find the handle, and falls on top of it. That was Olivier Vernon, who hit Foles from behind and knocked it loose.
Yeah, speed, anticipation, double move. Vernon with a little shake. I love the club. You got to get a break if you're the Giants. Something extra go your way. Keep playing hard.
Giants and the Eagles off to a good start here. 1 quarter in the books. And the G-men in front 13-7. Will be the first third down of the game offensively for the Eagles offense.
Let's see if they help Vaitai up here at the top, who gave up the sack to Vernon on that last play. Let's see if they give him help.
Third best third down offense in the NFL, the Eagles, but that's with Carson Wentz. And that's thrown into double coverage, and Foles is very lucky that was not intercepted by Cockrell.
Cockrell has a great break on the ball. I actually think he can get a pick six off of this. Watch how quick his break is. See, he's never out of his back pedal. He's never off balance, so he's able to change directions. And a good job of keeping that right arm away from Alshon Jeffrey and coming across with the left arm. And they did help on Vernon and Vaitai, which keeps an extra wide receiver in. That's one less target for Foles to go after.
First punt for either team. Eagles had a punt block last week that turned into a touchdown against the Rams. Donnie Jones drops it inside the 5 and bounces in and through the end zone. Of course, college football bowl season well underway. On Wednesday, the Foster Farms Bowl. Arizona taking on the Purdue Boilermakers on Fox. And Thursday, the Holiday Bowl. It's always a wild one. Washington State taking on Michigan State and Mark D'Antonio's Spartans.
So we got to bear down and boiler up.
Better believe it.
You got it.
Part of the Big Ten.
Jeff Brom did a great job at Purdue this year.
Got a first-year coach up there. They're very excited where that program is moving, and D'Antonio's put together a great run at Michigan State.
B3, that's the height. 118, that's it.
Eli Manning, third possession of the game. Couple of touchdowns already. And that one is thrown low, incomplete, being chased by Fletcher Cox. There is a flag down in the secondary about 15 yards down the field. This is against Philadelphia.
Now they're going to get them for holding.
This Philadelphia defense has not showed up so far today.
Defense, number 31. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
So when you get beat a couple times, you start getting a little nervous and you lose your trust in your technique and trust in your training. So you start holding on and grabbing because you don't want it to happen again. And right there, he is grabbing and pulling Sterling Shepard. Now that's a little ticky-tacky, but we couldn't see his right hand, and he did have a handful of jersey. That's just because you've been beat. Settle down, get back into your rhythm, and play the game.
You know, the Rams have one of the better offenses in all the NFL. But this Philadelphia defense had been one of the better defenses in the league this season. Rams scored on their first 2 possessions after halftime when the Eagles had a 10-point lead. They had the touchdown on the block punt. Now they came up with a huge play made by Chris Long on the strip. And they wound up with a couple of field goals to win it and a late return for a touchdown. But Jim Schwartz's unit had been beat up a little bit.
Yeah, they haven't tackled well. Just a lot of tackles, especially in the back end. Last week was a problem.
118, that's it.
Coleman on the screen across the 30. That's good yardage to pick up on second down and brings up third down, and we'll call it 3.
Great effort by Tim Jernigan. I'll tell you, when you get defensive linemen, Tom, that can chase down screens from behind, a lot of times they can create fumbles or big plays because the receiver doesn't know that they're coming. Here comes Jernigan running down. I love the fact that he's trying to strip the ball. Good effort.
Giants are perfect so far on third down today, 4 of 4. And now make it 5 out of 5.
Yep.
Shepard across midfield, still on his feet. And down the sideline goes Sterling Shepard, a third Giants touchdown.
I'll tell you, they got away with one because they're going to get a little bit what some people would deem an offensive interference in Rhett Ellison. They did not call it. Watch number 85 will come from this angle. He's going to pick off Shepard's guy. 85, Rhett Ellison will come into your screen. Right. We'll see it on the next angle right here. See, right there. See that? Now that could be called offensive interference. They're in man coverage. You lose sight of it. Poor tackling in the secondary once again, and the Giants take the lead. Good job by Rhett Ellison of running his route. The defender ran into him, clearing the way for Sterling Shepard, and all of a sudden he's dancing in the blue end zone.
That is a 67-yard touchdown. Shepard had a 77-yarder earlier this year against Philly. And they'll still play for a single point after rather than trying to make up for one that was blocked on their first touchdown. But this is a Giants offense that is averaging 15 points per game. We have played 15, now 16 minutes. They have 20. 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns for the New York Giants. Entering today, the most points that Philadelphia had allowed in a first half of a game was 14.
Now, when you lose your starting quarterback, not only the backup has to take a role, Tom, everybody has to pick their game up, including the defense.
Lemon still on his feet up to the 27-yard line. Let's go back to the touchdown a moment ago to Shepard.
See, I think they got away with one right here with an OPI. You're going to see Rhett Ellison is going to come across the screen. And right here's Rhett. Now right here, it's possible that Malcolm Jenkins bumped him into the defenders. That's maybe why they didn't call the OPI. That's pretty darn close. The fact is, they didn't call it. The Giants took advantage of it. Poor tackling in the secondary, and Shepard has the touchdown. You got to tackle. You can't get lazy in your techniques. Bring them down.
All right, so now unfamiliar turf for this 11-2 Philadelphia Eagles team. And they hand it off to Ajayi. He spins out of one tackle, but is buried on another. First man there was a rookie, Dalvin Tomlinson. Second round pick out of Alabama.
You know, we talk about, and Spags was telling us, Giant pride. That's everywhere, right? This defense gives up 130 yards on the ground. Now they're starting to play. They have a lead. They don't know how to play with a lead. They're excited, and they're flying around the football like they're excited to be out there. They look like they're the ones fighting for the home field advantage throughout the playoffs in the first round bye.
And this time to LeGarrette Blount, his first carry of the afternoon, and he's up across the 30-yard line. Check in with Peter Schrager.
Guys, if you're looking for a Giants team to just lay down, that's not the team here. And Steve Spagnuolo told us 3 games left, but they still changed up the practice schedule. Every other practice since Coughlin's last season and McAtoo's first 2, they would go lightly on Fridays, go through it on Saturdays. Friday, first time in 2.5 years, they had a full practice, and it's showing today. Changing it up. They're not done yet this season.
They're down in 6. They're coming after Foles. He gets rid of it, but incomplete to Ertz. So now back-to-back possessions. The Eagles, after scoring on their first chance of the game, will have to punt it away.
It's a missed opportunity. Ertz actually had a lead blocker out in front of him. He would have got the first down if he catches the football. They had a first down, and that was a play designed where he was the only guy that was getting the ball because the receiver started his blocking right before the ball arrived. A missed opportunity by the Eagles to keep the chains moving.
Leaf Raymond stands back at his own 20-yard line, waiting for the Donnie Jones punt. It's a short one, but it's going to bounce and take a favorable Eagles roll to the 23. Well, mostly long faces all year long for the Giants, but a lot of smiles so far today. Well, apparently the recipe for Giant success offensively comes at the expense of Philadelphia. We told you that Week 3 game, there were 37 points combined by the two teams in the fourth quarter. And the Giants have carried that right into the opening quarter and here in the second quarter today. They hand it to Ingram. And the rookie tight end picks up 14, run out of bounds at the 38-yard line.
One of the things that Jim Schwartz has to get settled with his defense is stop the run first. They're becoming a team where they're doing what they want to do as far as run pass, so you have everybody guessing. And Brandon Graham has to keep contained. If you're the end guy in the line of scrimmage, nothing gets outside of you. Good job filling there. Kendricks.
Kendricks started with the Eagles since day one when they took him in the second round in 2012. In that wild game back in Week 3, Kendricks tipped an Eli Manning pass and wound up being returned for a touchdown by Robinson. And here's Manning cutting it loose down the sideline, incomplete, third down upcoming.
Nice job by Jalen Mills. That goes to show you and prove why you have to have a short memory when you play corner. His technique is outstanding. He's going to stay in position. He's not going to panic. He's not going to grab. He runs the route. And that's a poor read by Eli Manning. That's the one where you want to throw short and behind. Anytime the defender is up top of your receiver, that's when you throw the fade back or the back shoulder fade to your receiver and let him adjust on the football.
That's Aaron Rodgers, 101.
Got it.
Giants trying to keep this drive alive. They've scored on their first 3 possessions. And this one will stall on a big hit delivered by the hard-hitting safety Rodney McLeod.
I love the patience of McLeod right here. No, excuse me, McLeod will come into your picture, not jumping anything, and just a great break on the football. The pass knocked Gallman off balance a little bit. McLeod finished him off, forcing a punt.
First punt of the day for Brad Wing. Philadelphia came after that, just missed getting it. And the fair catch at the 24. Some of the great faces in the history of the Eagles, including the minister of defense, the late great Reggie White. Central Park over the holidays. Wish everybody a happy Hanukkah and early Merry Christmas.
I was over there dropping my combination Salchow triple axle on him.
You were.
Excellent.
First down, Nick Foles steps up and missed a wide open Nelson Aguilar. That would have been a big-time game right there.
The Giants are doing a nice job, and the RPO is such a big part of this Eagle offense. And the whole idea is to get everybody sucked up inside, but it's a good push by Snacks Harrison. Now we're going empty here, but when you go empty, it tells these guys to get your pass rush on. And Nick Foles does a good job of stepping up into the pocket and just a little high and off target. But the Giants so far have done a good job of recognizing run and pass, to play run and play pass, especially up front.
Levitt, good powerful running, and that's a first down. That'll be a gain of 11. This guy was the only undrafted rookie to make this Eagles team this year. He grew up in Glassboro, New Jersey. In fact, he still holds a New Jersey high school single-season rushing record. 479 yards in one high school game.
And he had a lot of success up there in Wisconsin for the Badgers. That Paul Christ offense. It's a lot of downhill running.
Fake it to Ajayi, and now Foles running around being chased by Pierre-Paul. And let's see if they call that a completion. No, they don't. Smith is out of bounds. A little more hair on that, and that's a nice play.
Well, here's the difference between Wentz and Foles. You're going to see Aguilar right here get in between the safeties and linebackers. Foles doesn't see him. Watch Aguilar right there. That ball should be delivered. He has all that space right over the linebackers under the safeties. Nick Foles came off of him a little bit too quick. Right there is a subtle difference between Wentz being your quarterback and Foles being your quarterback. I think Foles will start to see that, but remember, he hasn't played a lot this year.
And now a challenge flag is being thrown by Doug Peterson on a completion. It was ruled an incomplete pass on the sideline.
Philadelphia is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass. We will review the play.
So they're going to take a look at it. All right, let's take a look at what we have to bring it to you here at home.
See, I think his knee's out of bounds right there. So one part of that body's down, out of bounds. He's out of bounds. It's a nice effort by Torrey Smith. See if we can see it from this angle. I think he's out of bounds. I think his wrist, possibly his knee. Good effort of Torrey Smith working back to help his quarterback that was in duress, giving him an open target to throw to.
Now the ruling on the field is an incompletion. Dean Blandino back in Los Angeles. You've seen everything we have so far. You think this call stands, a one on the field? Dean, how do you see this? Any differently than Chris did?
No, I agree with Chris. I think the issue, I do believe the left knee is down in bounds, but I feel like when he gains control of the football, the elbow is touching the white and that the pass is incomplete. I think it was a good call on the field, and the call should stand.
I think we're right on it, Dean.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Philadelphia will be charged a timeout and loses their first challenge.
All right, Dean Blandino. You and Mr. Spielman today 2 for 2. That is a dramatic
That's a record. Yeah.
From what we've seen most of this year.
I'm out of my slump.
Well, there's still 9:44 to go in the second quarter.
Plenty of time to get back in it.
So Philadelphia has one challenge remaining. And it's second down and 10. They fake the run. And Foles throws off balance, but finds a wide open Zach Ertz close to midfield, and that'll be a Philadelphia first down. Ertz out last week in concussion protocol.
Here's that RPO, the good play action, sucks everybody up. Why? Because you shouldn't be, because these offensive linemen aren't coming or firing out. None of these guys should be up here. They all should be back here. And when you get sucked up like that, that leaves the middle of the field open, and a great throw by Foles with somebody in his face named Olivier Vernon. But the tackles are standing up. There's no reason for linebackers to rush the line of scrimmage.
Foles hit 5 of his first 5. He had missed on his next 4 before that completion, and just not much running room there for Jay Ajayi. So the overall numbers so far for Nick Foles, and this is his first start after the injury to Carson Wentz in the fourth quarter last week at the Coliseum in L.A. 6 out of 10. Great opening drive, went right down the field, scored a touchdown, then punted on the next 2, and this is their 4th possession.
Yeah, I think he's getting in rhythm and he's feeling it a little bit. Just that middle of the field is going to be open on an RPO. He had Ertz and he had Aguilar earlier, just held the ball a little too long.
Little delay to Ajayi, and he cuts it back to the inside, spun down at the 45. It'll bring up third down and 2. And we send it to Carissa Thompson in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Al. We go to New Orleans. Saints up 10-7 in the second when Drew Brees finds a familiar target. Alvin Kamara for a 10-yard score. Saints lead this one 17-7. Tom, Chris, and Peter.
All right, thank you very much. Of course, the Saints trying to close in on a divisional championship. But there's a lot of work in that NFC South. Billy 0 for 2 so far today on third down. Clement in the backfield. They're going to throw it to him. And takes a big hit from the maligned Eli Apple, shaken up on the play. Apple has missed the last 4 games, out with various injuries.
They tried their own little pick play. The problem was the Giants were playing zone. Eli didn't jump inside, waited for that ball to be delivered outside, and a good break on the football and a good open field tackle by Eli Apple.
Of course, Apple been in the news all year long and not much of it good. He got benched back in week 5 against San Diego, yelling allegedly at an assistant coach. Was criticized after a game against San Francisco, and then he tweeted out, you know, congratulations to his former teammate at Ohio State, Rod Smith, for his touchdown run against the New York Giants last Sunday. But Apple is up and available and made a nice play right there.
Yeah, I think he needs that for his confidence and for the team to get confidence in him. And I believe there's an NFL rule that 90 minutes before kickoff, no social media by any players, whether they're active or inactive. You know, that's a violation. He just has to refocus himself because he does have talent, and corners are such a hard position to find. He can help himself by helping his team by getting it going.
All right, the Eagles are going to go for it. They are 12 for 12, perfect this year on 4th down and a yard, and it's 4th down and a yard.
Watch the hard count, too, if you're the Giants.
They'll turn around and hand it off. And I don't think LeGarrette Blount got there. That would be the first time in 13 tries that he does not get there. 13, an unlucky number. The Giants defense stands tall.
Great penetration by Bromley right here. He's going to knock him back into Blount, which causes Blount to stop his feet. Then Adams, number 33, who's untouched off the corner, is able to get the big 4th down stop. Great team defense by the Giants.
Now the Giants take over from their own 45-yard line. Nothing doing for Darkwa on first down. 20-7. Certainly a surprise based on the fact the Giants have won 2, the Eagles have only lost 2. And divisional game or not, new quarterback or not, you didn't expect this count where we are right now.
When you have a new quarterback, everybody has to step up, and that includes the Eagles defense, who've not played their best, obviously, this first half.
Dangerous throw there by Eli Manning. And I mean to tell you, Darkwa took a shot from Nigel Bradham.
Well, Fletcher Cox is just a man inside. Watch this. This is an old Reggie White move where he'll get a guy on his hip and throw him. Look at this right there. See him throw right there? That forced Eli to get the ball out quicker than he wanted to. But Fletcher Cox one-on-one, he's a man, and he's very difficult to stop in one-on-one situations.
And that's Jalapeno now at right guard, or at least it was on that play a moment ago. Bobby Hart got the start over there. And now Manning on 3rd down, great protection, and throws a pick right into the arms of Ronald Darby. And Darby still on his feet, spinning, running, still down the sideline, and finally dragged down at the 20-yard line.
Something about technique, right? Darby never gets out of his back pedal or never gets pressed. He actually has a better break on the ball than does Roger Lewis. He's going to run a route for Roger Lewis, breaks in front of him, and tremendous effort of getting the ball down the field, becoming a running back. We just talked about it. If you're struggling, if you're dead, if things aren't happening, somebody needs to step up and make a play for the playoff-bound Eagles. Darby does. Huge interception, creating field position for this Eagle offense.
Well, Eli has thrown more touchdowns in his career against Philadelphia than any other team. He's also thrown more interceptions against Philadelphia than any other team. And now Foles looking for 6, and he nearly turned it right back over. Let's go back to Carissa Thompson in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Tom. We go to Minnesota, so the Vikings still in play for that number 1 seed. Giants helping them out here. How about this? Case Keenum finds Stephon Diggs for a 20-yard touchdown. Vikings lead this one 24-0. Tom?
There's Mike Zimmer, an old defensive coordinator under Marvin Lewis, and the big story there, the fact that Lewis apparently on his way out after 15 years.
The Bengals not know that he didn't leave yet? You can still play. He didn't leave yet. He's still coaching.
2nd down, and they hand it off to Clement. And he's inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line. It brings up a 3rd down. So we talked about the Eagles and how impressive Foles was on the opening drive. 7 plays, 75 yards, a touchdown. And they've struggled. And now trying to take advantage of the interception thrown by Manning.
Zach Ertz obviously a target in this area. Trey Burton's a guy that should be in the ball game. He plays well and was dangerous in this red area last week.
Foles lays it off for Ajayi, and he's very close to a 1st down. We'll see where they spot it. Yep, right at the 10, 1st down and goal.
Good job of Nick Foles using his eyes, staring down Ertz, then coming to the outlet to Ajayi. Ertz is going to release. Nick Foles will stare down Ertz down the middle of the field right here. Then he goes right to his outlet. Jay Ajayi runs strong after the catch. He was looking at Ertz very nicely. Then he comes off and hits the outlet. Use your eyes to move safeties and move linebackers. Hit your outlet. Well executed, number 9.
Hit right after he faked the handoff by Kelvin Sheppard.
Spags is getting aggressive right here. You pick up an extra defender and you come with the blitz and you bring in pressure, getting in Foles' face. You don't have to cover because you got that back line of the end zone as an extra defender, as your 12th man, forcing a quick throw. Good job of staying off the head of Kelvin Sheppard on Foles.
2nd down and goal from right at the 10-yard line. Blitz coming again. And that is a touchdown to Zach Ertz.
It's a nice double move by Zach Ertz. Adams actually is in good position, but he uses his big body. He's going to come here and come back in, and almost like a basketball player off of a shot. As a defender, you're told to box out. He just boxes out Adams, and Foles throws the fastball in there. Good job of taking advantage of the turnover. Points off turnovers.
Ertz, his 8th touchdown reception. And a point after is good. So the interception thrown by Manning into the arms of Darby turns into this. And a 6-point game.
So we talk about somebody stepping up to make a play. Darby does on the defense, setting up the offense in Nick Foles. Nick Foles comes to a nice red zone target into Ertz, who boxes out Adams for 6. And what he's saying without saying this, right now, he's going over to congratulate his DBs. Look, Wentz was the guy, but for now, reality tells us I'm the guy in the near future. Wentz will be the future. I'm the near future. The new future is the here and now.
And the return up to the 23-yard line. Well, it's a Christmas season, and tonight Christmas comes early, the most beloved Christmas movie of all time. That's right. From a network that brought you Grease Live, it's A Christmas Story live. Tonight at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on Fox.
Some pressure live. That Red Ryder BB gun going. Shooting targets. Put your eye out with that thing, Tom.
Nope. But you had your daughter handling those BB guns very, very young. They didn't know the difference between a zone blitz and a man blitz.
It's
they
over.
didn't need it night. Speaking of blitzing, off the edge comes Brandon Graham. Oh, what a year he's having. Now it is a season out of Michigan. And we check in with Carissa Thompson in L.A.
Thanks, Tom. Conversation all week as Aaron Rodgers returned. Packers down 10-7 when he finds Randall Cobb for this 33-yard touchdown. Rodgers' stat line on the day so far, 10 for 17, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. They lead 14-10. Tom?
With all the receivers in that Green Bay offense without Aaron Rodgers around, Randall Cobb has been completely forgotten. Everybody makes a big deal about Jordy Nelson's been playing longer than Cobb, but I mean, Cobb has just disappeared without Rodgers as a quarterback.
Yeah, he's such a weapon in the slot, and he's also a guy that can run the Wildcat. And I guarantee you nobody's happier than Rodgers' return to Randall Cobb. Nice play on the screen to give him a manageable third down by the Giants.
Trying to get him to jump again.
Brian Ingram, that's been the safety blanket, the go-to guy.
It's a third down, and Manning scrambling around. And well short. These last two Giants possessions have looked like the Giants of 2017.
And the key has been is because these four guys are getting pressured, making it very uncomfortable for Eli Manning into the pocket. They have Ingram covered down the slot. He tried to go to his check down, but because of the pressure from a four-man front by the Eagles, that pocket collapsed, forcing the underthrow.
So the Eagles are going to get the ball with under 3.5 to go, and they got it. They nearly got one the last time, and this time they get it. Kuma Grugier-Hill came up with a block.
They got one block last week, so they're going to go ahead and take their shot, try to get one. And right here, he's going to sneak through this A gap. Comes around unprotected and on block 27 for the Giants. Misses his block, and Darian Thompson, and that's a free run to the punter. And look at him take it right off the punter's foot, not having the hands above the head, hands at waist level. Beautiful job, and special teams are now stepping up for the Eagles. Everybody's getting involved.
Kamu Grugier-Hill, the Honolulu native, comes up with a huge play, and now the Eagles trying to jump back in front. They had a 7-6 lead after teams traded touchdowns on their opening possession. And now from the 18-yard line, Foles with time and throws high. The ball just sailed over.
Not surprising they take a shot after a turnover like that. The Giants were in zone coverage, good discipline, and a good decision by Nick Foles to throw that one away because Alshon Jeffrey had three Giants around him.
It was the Eagles who had a punt blocked return for a touchdown at the Coliseum in LA last week, and now the Eagles special teams coming up with a big block. Handed off to Ajayi, looking for running room, and just plows forward inside the 15, down close to the 11-yard line.
I'm the Giants
coming up.
Yeah, I'm the Giants defense on this big third down, Tom. You got to get pressure. Last time they dropped 8 down here in this area, it didn't work out too well. Now you got to bring pressure. Come after him, make Foles uncomfortable, and trust that your guys can play some type of man.
Well, a third down and 5. They need to get inside the 9-yard line. Almost midway through between the 8 and the 9-yard line. Short throw, wide open in the end zone. And that is Burton, who had a couple of touchdown receptions and indeed warmed by the fire. This Philadelphia Eagles offense, the highest scoring team in the league.
Nothing kills a defense like a lack of communication. I got him, you got him, nobody's got him. Right here between these two guys. Nobody's communicating. Eli Apple, the safety right here, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie are going to jump one guy. You see that? And it's easy pickings for Cromartie. Mental errors will kill a team every single time. Lack of communication, maybe that's why Eli wasn't in there. We don't know.
Point after is good, and the Eagles with 2:20 to play after the block punt by Grugier-Hill turn it into a touchdown. We're back in 30 seconds after this from Wells Fargo. Eli Manning and the Giants with 2:20 to play until halftime, and all 3 timeouts remaining, trailing 21-20, and looming so large now is that that block rather, point after on the first touchdown of the game. Derek Barnett blocked that point after. This is Raymond up to the 25-yard line. Look, for Eli Manning, this is the worst season of his career. But even if you go back to 2013, I mean, look at the numbers. They are what they are. 12 games under 500, thrown more interceptions than any quarterback in the league. 6 comebacks in 5 years in the fourth quarter or overtime. I mean, that's fewer than Brian Hoyer and Blake Bortles. And by no means is anybody comparing the careers of those two to Eli Manning. He's thrown for over 50,000 yards. But the bottom line is this offense, and it's not all Eli's fault. They've had all the injuries to the wide receiver, Odell Beckham Jr. and Brandon Marshall, all the injuries on the offensive line. But it has not been good outside of last year for a number of years. 21-20. We've reached a 2-minute warning. All right, a lot of things going on while we were gone here. The call on the field was an incomplete pass. Why the clock would have stopped, we have no idea. There was 2:11 left when the play was blown dead. One official said it was a catch on the field. He was ultimately overruled by the other officials together. The call on the field is an incomplete pass. Giants head coach, interim head coach Steve Spagnuolo is challenging that call on the field.
He should call it because it's a catch, and that's why it's a clear catch. And I don't know how they got that one and called that incomplete. His hands underneath between the ground and the football. And he secured the catch. 2 hands.
I just want to ask Dean Blandino very quickly back in Los Angeles. Dean, if they ultimately look at this on replay and they call this a catch, the clock would have continued to run.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. It's an incomplete pass. The Giants will charge with a charge timeout and lose their first challenge.
All right, well, just in theory, Dean, quick question for you. If that would have been overruled and called a catch, would they have wound the clock down to the 2-minute warning there?
Exactly. If they had ruled that a catch, then they would have wound the clock after the review. There'd be no charge timeout to the Giants. And whether the Giants wanted to run another play or let it go to the 2-minute warning, that would have been up to them.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, ultimately, they say it's no catch. So, Dean, thank you for that. And it is 2nd down and 10 for the Giants. I mean, Philadelphia right now is thinking about trying to find a way to get the ball back. And Eli Manning going to lay it off to Ingram, and the powerfully built #1 pick out of Alabama is up to the 33-yard line. He'll be 2 yards short of a first down, and the clock is at 2:05, and now we'll get down to the 2-minute warning. And I said Alabama. Ingram is out of
Ole Miss.
Mississippi,
Yep.
pardon me.
2 minutes.
So now, after we've already officially had a 2-minute warning, we're going to have a second 2-minute warning. But the bottom line is, Chris, you know, you made the comment about Steve Spagnuolo, and Peter Schrager said the same thing about playing for Giants pride. This is a very proud organization, incredible success by and large year after year, and they're playing like it, at least so far in this first half.
They are, but I love the way Philadelphia has bounced back, getting down. There was no panic when we talked about it. Somebody needs to step up and make a play to help this offense get going. We get the interception by Darby, the pump block, and the Eagles capitalized on both of them. That's what championship teams do. And I think Nick Foles has shown well so far. He's making good decisions. Missed a couple reads here and there. But the more he plays, the better he'll get and the more comfortable he will be. But I love the fact that the Eagles defense stepped up and made a play for their quarterback that doesn't have a lot of reps this year.
Let's go to Carissa Thompson in Los Angeles.
All right, thanks, Tom. We go to Buffalo. Quick AFC playoff update for you. Bills currently in the 6th seed. Tyrod Taylor decides to take this one in himself. He's got his team up 20-6. Tom?
Buffalo's a story. Nobody's talking about that team. They had a wild game last weekend in the snow.
And I love the way Tyrod Taylor's responded. You know, he got benched, came back, kept his mouth shut, and has done a great job in keeping them in the hunt.
It's a big 3rd down for the Giants. They started 5 for 5 on 3rd down. They missed on their last 3. They're going to hand it off. And a good call there for Vereen. All the way up to midfield. The clock will continue to run. The Giants have 2 timeouts left.
Boy, Nigel Bradham gets kind of stuck up on a block right here, allowing Vereen to get there. And that's Jerry doing a good job of holding Bradham. He doesn't get called, so it was a good block.
Dump it off to Vereen, and he is wrapped up and dropped in the 44-yard line. No timeout taken by the Giants. 1:30 and counting, and this might be a flag. I mean, Vereen's been around long enough. Even if the other guy started it, and we'll see ultimately who gets this flag. The Giants say it's going to go against Philly, and the officials are talking about it. Jernigan and Vereen, the two participants there.
You just got to keep your composure no matter who this is on. And yeah, that's not smart football. I mean, your team that's struggling, you're struggling to get points. If that's on Vereen, you have to keep your composure at all times.
He just shoved Bradham.
Bradham comes back at him.
Yep.
Both guys need to keep their composure. Walk away. Take the little shove and get 15 yards for your team. In between plays is not the time to be a tough guy. How about during the play? That's the time to be the tough guy.
Foul, unnecessary roughness, number 53, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic.
I was just starting to say, after we saw those replays, Bradham held on to the ankle of Vereen long after he had already been whistled down. And that's the issue Vereen had with Bradham.
A classic case of Vereen smacks him in the head, right? So it's the second guy getting caught. Just got to hold your composure.
All right, so now the ball has moved inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. Plenty of time for the Giants to recapture the lead before the intermission. And Vereen again. And this time it's McLeod who drops him at the 24.
Eagles are playing nice zone here. Nothing over the top. Willing to concede a field goal. Nothing over the top.
Second down. Good protection for Manning into traffic. And it was nearly intercepted by McLeod. Well, it looked like he had Ingram open down there near the goal line, and he missed him.
He had him for a second. This is a nice job of positioning right here, forcing him back into where his safety help is. He had to throw that ball high so Ingram could be his only guy. McLeod almost comes up with a huge pick, but good positioning by all defenders, understanding where your help is and forcing the throw to your help.
Third down and 5. Underbelly right there inside the 15, and sitting down to get it is Shepard. We're under a minute.
Nice job by Shepard. You said it, sitting down, recognizing zone, sitting in the soft spot. Eli delivers.
Here it comes.
Takes it one way, comes back the other, throws, incomplete. That was Lewis down around the 3-yard line. Clock stops, 40 seconds remain. Shepard already over 100 yards. He had that 67-yard touchdown. His best game this year was week 10 against San Francisco at 142 receiving yards. Vereen is wrapped up by the man he got tangled up with a minute ago, Bradham. And right out of bounds right at the 11-yard line. Clock stops, 36 seconds left and a third down.
Great job by Bradham avoiding the pick right there, Tom, going over the top, conceding the yardage, yet making a sure tackle. It's being smart and avoiding any underneath garbage he might have run into to knock him off. Keep your eyes right now. Ingram, big target in the red zone.
Manning throws. That had no chance. None. Great coverage by Patrick Robinson on Ingram.
He knows, Robinson knows he has a safety sitting here, so he's going to go ahead and play to the outside and play the flag route because he knows where his help is. Again, understanding where your help is allows a defensive back to go ahead and jump routes and put yourself in position to force the overthrow.
Rosas on for the field goal. 28-yard attempt. He's 15 out of 20 so far this year. And that one is good. So Eli gets him down the field. And in the final minute, the Giants take the lead 23-21. Halftime right around the corner. How about it, Kurt Menefee in L.A.?
Coming up on the Visa halftime, we got Sunday afternoon fever as the Ravens, Dolphins, and Bills all try to stay alive in the playoff race. Put on your dancing shoes. The Visa halftime is coming up.
That's right, on the Fox Motion Picture lot. And, of course, that was the biggest story in the business world this entire week. Part of the sale that ultimately, one would think, will go through with the Walt Disney Corporation. "27 seconds to go." This one going to be brought out. And that is Kenyon Barner. The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award recognizes NFL players who've made a significant impact on the game and in their communities. This year's nominee from the Eagles is Malcolm Jenkins. And for the Giants, Mark Herzler. This year's winner will be announced at NFL Honors the night before Super Bowl 53. If you'd like to learn more about the other nominees, visit MLB.com/Man of the Year. Eli Manning wears a patch on his jersey. He is a past winner of the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. And that's a patch. The late, great Walter Payton. Foles takes a knee. Foles throws 3 touchdown passes in the first half. His first start for Carson Wentz, who threw 33 of them, an Eagles franchise record. And the Eagles will get the ball to begin the second half. Eli Manning and the Giants lead 23-21. We look and listen to some fun from Week 14. Sounds from the field brought to you by Walmart.com, now offering free 2-day shipping.
Everything got down that field today. Keep doing it. We keep moving. We keep moving. We keep moving.
That's how big time teams play in this environment. Give it up real quick. There it is.
We just having fun and we working, baby. That's it, baby.
So 23-21 at halftime. The Giants in front, and we mentioned earlier, looming large is still that blocked extra point on the first score of the game by the Giants, by Derek Barnett. An interception led to a touchdown. A blocked punt led to a touchdown. And you see the numbers on Eli Manning's Giants team. Averages 15 points per game, and 23 of them in the first half. We go right now to Los Angeles for the Visa halftime, which begins right now. The Eagles get the ball. You look at the first half numbers. The Giants more than doubled the number of total yards. But when you block a punt and you pick off a pass, work on a short field, couple of touchdowns, a 2-point game at halftime. Very short kick, and Barner still on his feet and out across the 25-yard line. And what's going on at halftime, Peter Schrager?
Tom, Coach Doug Peterson told me the message going into halftime, you cannot give them anything. He said they had a bad third down penalty early in the game on defense. He says the offense was, quote, spit and sputter at times, needs to be better. As for Coach Steve Spagnuolo, the Giants, he said it's all about Giants pride. He goes, we're up 2 points, fresh 30 minutes. Let's ruin their day and let's give these fans a win.
That's what Coach Spagnuolo was talking about on Friday, this Giants pride. And they played like it so far. With a 2-point lead, and the Eagles with the ball to begin the second stanza. That's Eli Apple, his second big hit today on a Philadelphia receiver. Ertz with maybe a 2-yard gain.
And I think if you're an Eagles fan, you need to be encouraged because that guy right there has held up his end of the bargain. The defense started out slow, but had some issues in the secondary in the first half, but toward the second half, they settled down. This is where Nick Foles needs to operate that RPO with a fake handoff. In the middle of the field has been open on that play action if they go to it.
That RPO, the run-pass option. Right there, you just saw it. And then running the wrong way after making the grab with Smith. This should have been a first down. He's a yard short.
Well, this is DJ Goodson who's going to drop into the zone, and it's the RPO thing. But watch Goodson right here. He doesn't get sucked up too bad on the run, so he's able to get to his zone and run and break on Torrey Smith to bring him just short. If I'm the Giants, I bring pressure. And remember, the last short yardage play against the Eagles, Brownlee got great pressure, allowing Adams to blitz off the corner to stop LeGarrette Blount for the first down.
Philadelphia 16 of 19 on 3rd down and a yard. They were 12 for 12 on 4th and a yard and didn't get it. They do get it this time with LeGarrette Blount. Shot down by Darian Thompson, but that will move the chains.
Brett Selleck had a nice job of caving that corner inside, allowing Blount to get his shoulders going north and south. Just the little things. That's what championship teams do. Seal the deal on the corner. Blount was able to fall forward.
Selleck, the 11-year veteran, he has been one of the toughest and most durable and most reliable and productive Eagles really in the history of the franchise. He's missed one game in his 11 years. Down the middle of the field. Boy, that's a tough catch, and able to haul it in was Alshon Jeffrey. There is a penalty flag down, but this will be against the Giants, undeniable.
He's been a great pickup for the Eagles, and I refer to these guys, they're like power forwards in basketball. Eli Apple has good coverage on Alshon Jeffrey.
Defense number 24. The result of the play is a completed pass, therefore the penalty is declined. First down.
But he's so strong in his route running, and look, this is not an easy pass. This is a confident guy right here. This is throwing to a window and letting his receiver make the play by throwing him open. That's a great ball by Nick Foles. Something to be optimistic about is the more he plays, the more comfortable he's going to get.
You know, when Jeffrey came to the league, it looked like he was going to be one of the great stars at the wide receiver position. Now Foles looking around and throws to Ertz, and that'll be a first down to the 34-yard line. You know, second year in the league, back-to-back years over 1,000 yards for Alshon Jeffrey. Went to a Pro Bowl, but the last 2 years he's missed a dozen games. And so Chicago decides not to bring him back. Philly brings him in. He's had an outstanding season.
He plays hard, plays with strong hands, rarely drops the ball and makes tough catches inside. How about that confident throw? Across your body, back to the middle of the field. You want to be careful on those because he did have room to run if he wanted. Jeffrey's tough.
Up under center, Foles fakes a handoff again and again rolls right, being chased, and just throws it away. For more on Alshon Jeffrey, Peter Schrager.
You know, it's an interesting deal, Tom, because they signed him to a one-year deal in free agency and said, hey, let's see how this goes midway through the season. Let's give him a big extension and sign the deal. And for Alshon Jeffrey, this guy could have hit free agency again this year. He told me, his people in his group said, look, he's happy, he's confident, he's playing the best football of his life. Let's keep him being an Eagle, and he's going to be here for a stretch run.
You know what else he has? He has a pretty good young quarterback that makes him look good, Carson Wentz. That's a big reason why he stayed in Philadelphia, is he'll put up numbers with Wentz.
He was with Jay Cutler there for a while, and Cutler had a couple of decent years with the Bears. And now they come back to Jeffrey. Excellent blocking in front, and he's finally tackled at the 15-yard line.
Well, it's nice when you got a center that can get 25 yards downfield and be able to get a block. This is a nice little screen pass. Everybody's getting downfield. A well-called play. Good patience by Jeffrey. Watch Kelsey, though, at the end of this. Right there, you got Vaitai getting a block. Look at Kelsey, put him on his back.
He tried to hit his own teammate.
But I got excited for that because linemen never get glory for that. You know, big hit by a linebacker, big hit by DB. How about the center taking a DB and putting him where he belongs on his back? Now Thompson has to bounce back off of that.
So yeah, those last two guys we've talked a little bit about, Kelsey and Selleck, both out of the University of Cincinnati, and they have been excellent players here for a long, long time. And this is Burton down to the 12-yard line. Kelsey in his 7th year, he's been in the Pro Bowl twice.
Yeah, you're going to see him come here, and this is tough. This is what you should do. Thompson, I don't think, sees him coming or too late. And when you got guys making blocks downfield, offensive linemen making blocks 25 yards downfield, that's where big plays happen. I played for the great Marv Levy. He started every offensive meeting out with this. If the receivers and everybody blocks downfield, sustains blocks, big plays happen. That's exactly what happened right there. Big plays when guys block downfield.
Second down and 8, and they will hand it to Blunt. It's normally pretty stout Philadelphia running game has been shut down today.
Well, you see Lane Johnson on that? He was carrying Blunt. He missed his guy on the block, so he said, all right, I'll miss the block, but I'll drag him for 2 yards. Hey, that's a small win. Everything you can do, you do. He's a fighter, we know that.
McBarner is their leading rusher today. 2 carries for a total of 21 yards. Ajayi, who checks back in, 6 for 19. Blunt, 4 for 12.
Well, there's 2 guys you got to keep your eye on in the red zone for the Eagles. Everybody knows it. Ertz and Burton. Those 2 guys right there.
And they throw the play that seemingly never works.
That's your favorite play. What are you talking about?
Call in the league. And statistically, it's borne out.
Well,
every blue moon it works. 90-something% of the time, it never works.
This because, wait, freeze it right there, guys. This because this guy and this guy are on the same page. If he's up top, you have to throw the back shoulder. He doesn't throw the back shoulder. He throws it too quickly, does not read the position of the defensive back. He throws it to the pylon. That's just a miscommunication between receiver and quarterback.
And when I'm referring to a terrible play, I'm talking about the straight jump ball like that one right there, not the back shoulder throw. Here's a field goal, 28-yarder, and it is good by Jake Elliott. Opening drive of the second half. Results in 3. And the Eagles lead the Giants in the Meadowlands by 1. I told you before the game, Philadelphia can nail down home field advantage through the playoffs with a win today and a Minnesota loss. Minnesota's not going to lose. They are killing Cincinnati. So it basically boils down to if the Eagles can win 2 of their final 3, including this game, and Minnesota loses 1 more game, the Eagles will have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They have not had a home game to start the playoffs since 2004. Raymond from the goal line. And out across the 20 to the 24-yard line. You know, it's pretty incredible that no team has repeated as NFC East champion since the Eagles did it from 2001 to 2004. Cowboys and Eagles lead the pack with 4 division titles. Giants have 3. Washington 2. The 2011 Giants are the only division champion since 05 to win more than 1 playoff game. They beat New England, of course, in Super Bowl 46.
Hey, flip. Hey, 95's the line, 24's the Sam, 24's Sam. That's what big dudes will. 118, that's it.
First possession with 9:12 to go now here in the Meadowlands. Up to the 25-yard line is Gallman.
Remember, the Giants in the first half had success going up tempo, no huddle, and they go right back to it. Gives Eli a little bit of a pre-snap read on what defense the Eagles are playing.
And it was that slam that was so effective early on, and this time defended well by Darby. So 3rd down and 8. And here's Carissa Thompson in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Tom. We head back to Carolina. Panthers up 17-14 in the 3rd quarter. Cam Newton finds Damiere Byrd in the back of the end zone. The touchdown was called incomplete. Panthers challenge called reverse. Panthers lead 24-14. Cam's 3rd touchdown pass of the day. Tom?
You know, we've talked about Cam all year long. The healthier he gets, the worse news that is for the rest of the NFL. That one's slightly thrown behind Ingram. He dropped it. It wouldn't have mattered. He was already down on 1 knee, and he was well short of a first down. So 3 and out on the opening drive of this second half for the Giants.
And better communication in the secondary for the Eagles, who did struggle in the first half with missed tackles. That time, everybody defended the sticks well to make sure Eli had to dump it down, counting on the 4-man pressure to get there.
Wing had that punt blocked in the first half, and they nearly had another one in that half. And this one punted out of bounds. Great field position for the Eagles. Close to their own 40. A 1-point game. We're at MetLife Stadium, home of both the Giants and the New York Jets. 24-23, the Eagles in front. We have 8:38 to play in the third quarter. And excellent field position starting from their own 41 is Philadelphia.
About time for the Giants D to step up and make a play to help their offense. Just the way the Eagles defense helped their offense in the first half. The big interception by Darby.
Foles looking down the field, and that's Matt Hollins, a rookie out of North Carolina. Incomplete at 2nd down and 10, and here's Peter Schrager.
Guys, we spoke with Nick Foles yesterday at length, and he revealed something that was pretty interesting, I think. After he was waived by the Rams last year in training camp, he said he and his wife considered long and hard about retirement. Foles considered saying, hey, it's been a good run, let's hang it up. Just thinking about it, then Andy Reid called him up, the guy who drafted him in Philly, and said, I've got a backup spot in Kansas City. I want you to be my guy. The rest is history. He's now here. He's going to be winning games for the Eagles.
Here's Ajayi into the secondary. And by far his best run of the day. In fact, more on that carry than he'd had all day long.
Well, good blocking right here, but this guy right now has been my most valuable player in this Eagles offense. Because watch this block, and when you have a center that can pull, cut off a linebacker, and swing your hips inside to create that hole right there, then get downfield and get another block. Kelce, yes sir, that's championship football right there. When you can get two guys in one block as you're pulling from the center position, it's not easy to do. That's a talented center right there.
Well, he's been to the Pro Bowl twice and more than likely going again this year. Foles, a little screen to Ajayi after that 22-yard run. And sniffing the end zone, Ajayi, and he is chopped down inside the 5.
This feels like an Eagles home game here. They got him going. Everything. Ajayi, they were set to screen everybody again. Kelce doing a good job. Foles, good play action, nice patience, using his eyes to take defenders away from the screen area. And Ajayi has all that room to work, and he's been an excellent addition.
And there your guy, Kelce and Warmack leading the way again.
It's an offensive line has stepped up big.
That's 54 yards from scrimmage the last 2 plays for Jay Ajayi. 22-yard run, 32-yard catch. Olivier Vernon crossing the line of scrimmage. Or was he drawn off? Or had the play clock expired?
A lot of times defensive linemen have especially in their up position, look at the play clock to try to get a jump on the snap and take a shot.
Prior to the infraction by the defense, the play clock expired. Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So if you're the Giants defense, you know who the targets are down there. Any tight end in the ball game is a big target. Their tight ends have 14 touchdowns on the year in the red zone. You must account for them first and foremost, and hopefully you match up on their receivers man-to-man with your skill.
Yeah, it's 14 for the year after the 2 more of them today. One by Burton and one by Zach Ertz. A roll, and that's Aguilar, minimal gain. 2nd down and goal from the 10. You know, oftentimes a quarterback can build up numbers, moving them from the 20 to the 20. But Carson Wentz was throwing touchdowns, and that is something Foles has done today. He has 3 touchdowns without an interception. Twice has worked with a short field. And now looking to the corner of the end zone to Aguilar, and that's a touchdown, Philadelphia. 4 touchdowns for Nick Foles, and this is his first start of the year.
And what we're seeing is trust each series building and developing between receivers and their new quarterback. Nick Foles, he's just going to throw this jump ball, recognizes the back is turned by Daryl Morris, throw that ball up there, and Aguilar times it perfectly, going and catching it off the back of number 23, Morris. Boy, they spread the ball around.
It was almost a combination jump ball and back shoulder throw, because it was thrown short of the momentum of Aguilar. That is beautifully done. Well, look, we're not through 3 quarters yet. Carson Wentz threw 33 touchdowns this year. And look at the alley-oop and the slam. 4 touchdown passes for Nick Foles. That's the most he's thrown since that magical year of 2013, when he threw 27 touchdowns against just 2 interceptions, leading the Eagles to the NFC East Championship and into the playoffs. And we still have nearly a quarter and a half left to go. And not only the 4 touchdowns, as it's brought back to the 20, but he's hit 4 different receivers. And 3 of them, Jeffrey Aguilar Ertz. First trio now in franchise history with 8 or more receiving touchdowns in the same year.
Yeah, Trey Burton not far behind. He has 5 on the year, including 1 today. That's what makes them so difficult to defend, because whether it's Carson Wentz or Foles, they spread the ball around. They make you defend the whole field, and they're athletic on the edge. They get up in the air and jump and win jump balls, and tight ends can run. They're just a big problem to cover.
Well, the Eagles through 13 weeks had scored over 400 points. That's the most they'd ever scored in franchise history through 13 games. The Eagles offensively lead the NFL, averaging 31 points per game, and they sit on that number right now with still 5.5 to go in the third.
The other thing that makes them so good, they're second in the league at 143 yards rushing per game, which makes that RPO, that run pass option, so effective, because they do run the ball efficiently.
27. 118.
That's Ingram up to the 25-yard line. It brings up 3rd down and 5.
Giants need some life. They need to get a play. Somebody needs to step up. Ingram is the go-to guy in these type of situations, and the Eagles so far have done a good job of at least watching him and keeping an eye on press coverage, not letting him get open, making him work.
Manning 21 of 36, 258, 2 touchdowns and an interception. They went 3 and out their first possession of this half. This is 3rd down. And he overthrew a wide open Sterling Shepard. That should have been a home run ball.
There's Shepard up top. The protection's good, allowing Eli to set this up. And again, it's Shepard on a nice little wheel route, had him beat. Patrick Robinson was looking back at the quarterback, and Shepard was pulling away, and a missed opportunity for the G-Man.
Eli knows he should have had it. And out in coverage, shaken up, is Patrick Robinson.
Patrick Robinson does a good job as their nickel back. Last week against the Rams, he played a lot of linebacker for them.
Well, people forget this guy was a #1 pick by New Orleans. There's some talent there. We'll back in 30 seconds after this from Duracell and Lowe's. Good to see Patrick Robinson back up, trotting to the Philadelphia sideline. So the Giants will punt it. Back-to-back possessions here in this second half. 3 and out. And really that has been the story. More 3 and out possessions for the Giants than any team in the National Football League this year. They're saying this is on Philadelphia. If it is, this is an automatic first down.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Results in a first down.
So new life for the Giants on offense, fresh set of downs.
Well, this is the same formation as far as the punt block team that they had when they did block the punt. Right here, there's going to be a little push that knocks his guy in front of him off balance, and he jumps early right there. You got to be able to hold that and understand the situation, to be patient and look at the ball. Don't listen to words. Look at the ball before you go.
Manning on first down, swings it out of the backfield to Gall. And a good tackle made in the open field by Corey Graham. Graham's a guy that's had a really nice career. I mean, he's never been a big star, but 11 years in the league. Grew up in Buffalo. Turner Carroll High School. Came in the league all the way back in 2007 with Chicago. Won a Super Bowl with Baltimore. Been a good player.
Just reliable, trustworthy.
Yep. Short of a first down is Gallman. 3rd and 2.
Graham can play a multiple group of positions. Right here now he's playing linebacker / nickelback. Missed the tackle there, but you know he's going to be in the right place at the right time as Robinson comes back into the game for Graham.
Those guys that come out of those smaller programs, you were a great star at Ohio State. But a guy like him coming out of New Hampshire, you know, you just want the chance, and it's what you make of it, and Graham's made the most of it.
He's made his mark on special teams, also does a great job for the Eagles in that area. And see Eric Flowers being helped off, left tackle for the Giants.
He has started all but one game since they made him their #1 pick out of Miami of Florida in 2015. So Chad Wheeler takes over at left tackle for the injured Flowers on this 3rd down and 2. And that is a catch and a first down to Sterling Shepard, having a big day today.
It's a nice play call, taking the pressure off Wheeler by rolling away from Wheeler. So you're not asking him to block one-on-one. Shepard's just going to work to the sticks right here. A good throw by Eli on a run, but also taking the pressure off the newly inserted Wheeler at left tackle, going away from him.
7 catches, 114 yards now for Shepard. And they hand it off to Dartmouth, still on his feet, and maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Big start for Eli Manning. First 2 possessions, touchdowns for the Giants. But since then, 13 of 25. An interception which led to a touchdown. It was an interception and then a blocked punt where the Eagles came back to take a lead, and across the middle, this is King. Inside the 20, the 10, and King dives into, did he get to the end zone? No, he is just inside the 1. And now they say touchdown. That is the 2nd touchdown of this game, and it stands for Tavares King.
See right here, Tavares King running. Does a good job of letting the flyby happen from the 4-yard line. He takes off, and I think that's a touchdown. Absolutely across the plane with the football. And that's that slant route they've been working all day. That time he beat Ronald Darby off the ball inside. Eli put that ball nice in front of him so he can make a smooth transition from catch to run without slowing down. They're going to go for 2 here too, Tom.
They are reviewing the play as they do after every scoring play. And taking a look back in Los Angeles, as he used to do just down the road here in New York every Sunday when he was head of the NFL officials, Dean Blandino. What do you think here, Dean?
Yeah, I'm looking at this. A couple of factors. Does that right toe just touch out of bounds before he can extend the ball over the goal line? Don't think you can tell for sure. It does look like the ball is inside the pylon. The left arm is going to hit out of bounds. All of that said, I think it's a good call on the field, and that the call on the field will stand.
So you think it's a touchdown?
I do believe it's a touchdown.
All right.
I don't think that right foot hit. You're right, Dean. I think it looks like it hits, but to me it does not. Right there.
You can see it right there. It's close. And then he's going to fall forward, the ball inside the pylon, breaking the plane. Don't see anything to change the call on the field here.
Okay. Well, we are still awaiting the final verdict. The Giants, look, they've already decided here, it looks like, Chris, that they believe it's going to stand, and they're going to go for 2. Going all the way back to that blocked extra punt on their blocked extra point on their first touchdown of the game by Derek Barnett.
I absolutely like the call, and everybody has a favorite 2-point play.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
And, you know, for a minute, this Tavares King, I don't mean to interrupt, Craig. You know, this guy, another guy. I mean, a really nice pickup. 5 different teams have cut this guy, including the Giants twice. He had 4 receptions in the NFL since 2014 and now 2 touchdowns here today. They go for 2 to try and knot it up. Manning standing tall in there and now dropped. Pressure by Graham and Cox, who finished him off. So it's a 2-point game after the touchdown by Tavares King. Told you Eli Manning has put up big numbers, both touchdown passes, passing yards, and interceptions for that matter against Philadelphia. He's had a hard time beating Philadelphia. 10 and 16 in his career.
You know, the interesting thing to me, Tom, everybody's saying the Eagles done with Nick Foles as quarterback. The answer is no. But they better improve defensively. The past 2 weeks, they've been getting their rear ends handed to them.
You're right about that. Rams put up over 30 against him last week, and now the Giants knocking on the door at 30. And how about Foles today?
He's been sharp. I'm not surprised. I saw that game last week against the Rams. He came in and composed, understands the offense, has so many weapons that he spreads the ball around. Ajayi's going to be more of a factor. They're just so difficult to stop because of the variety of plays and players that he uses, that Carson used.
Well, he hit that 3rd and 8. That was the biggest play to seal the game, if you will, by Foles after he took over for Wentz in the 4th quarter. Great throw and a really nice catch by Aguilar. First down, they give it to Ajayi, and he picks up 3.
I think that's his, you know, there'll be plenty of game here and all that, but you know, you have one of the worst offenses in the league, 31st ranked, putting 29 up on you. What LA did to him last week, they need to get it going on the defensive side of the ball if they want to accomplish what they want to accomplish in the playoffs, as B.J. Goodson is down for the Giants.
Well, he has missed 6 games this year with ankle and shin injuries. Been a tough year for Goodson, his 2nd year out of Clemson. 4th round pick a year ago. So 31-29, the Eagles in front. You know, Chris, those are the things most of the people tomorrow, if Philadelphia does indeed, you know, finish this game and win the game, and there's a long way to go, not suggesting they're going to win it, but Foles has thrown 4 touchdown passes. He was the focal point coming into the game. You're making a great point, I think, in that they got some other things they better be watching too.
Well, they definitely have to improve on the defensive end, and you look at the big plays. We had Shepard with a huge play, right? King with a huge play in the secondary, and tackling needs to be shored up a little bit more. I think, to me, when you look at these Eagles, defensively is where they need to improve if they want to get to their goal, and that's the Super Bowl.
Well, while we have a moment, they continue to look after Goodson. We will send it back to Los Angeles to Kurt Menefee.
All right, Minnesota thrashing Cincinnati. Case Keenum, 20 of 23 passing, 2 touchdowns, including that one to Kyle Rudolph, who's now scored in 4 straight games. They're up 34-0 on the Bengals. Tom?
All right, Kurt, thank you very much.
And that's who the Eagles are in a fight, right, for the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Right. Minnesota wins today. They'll seal the North.
Well, I tell you, that's a gritty team, Minnesota. Your brother, Rick Spielman, is a general manager there. I mean, they've had some big-time injuries, too, to that team. Starting quarterback down in Bradford. Star rookie running back through the first month and a half. Dalvin Cook out for the year, among others.
You know what it says? It says to me, and we're seeing it right here and at our own game and in our own eyes, to have a veteran backup, a guy that has starts under his belt with Case Keenum, a guy that has wins under his belt. Right there, Nick Foles, 20 career victories as a starting quarterback in this league. That's valuable experience.
Pump fake all day to throw, and then a misread there. Jeffrey took off, realizing he had a shot at the big ball. Foles thought he was going to the sideline, and that's one of the things you brought up earlier. And I think you really have to be inside football to understand the relationship. Different position groups, but quarterbacks working with wide receivers. Foles not getting many of those snaps with this regular bunch.
No, there's just a little bit of rust, even on the one that they mistimed in the goal line on the fade that you talked about. The DB was up top. When he's on top of the receiver, that's when you throw the throw behind, which he'll get worked out as they progress forward. The more he plays.
Third down. Foles unsure he wanted to throw that. Looked in between like he wanted to run it, wanted to throw it, and then threw high to a wide open Zach Ertz.
A big 3-and-out right here. And I thought maybe Nick Foles was going to go ahead and take off and run with this football. He can run, keeping his eyes downfield. And once you hesitate right there, that threw off the timing and rhythm of the throw, which forced the high throw to Zach Ertz.
And more than likely, that's a play that Wentz runs. I mean, that was a big talk after he went down last week. He had the injury on the run. Boy, don't know what happened there, but that was a double pump by the punter, Donnie Jones. Ball continues to run down to the 20, inside the 20, and still rolling. I don't know if he lost his grip on the ball or what happened here, but that nearly turned into a block punt.
Right there's good. Everything's good. Yeah, he lost his grip. He had to re-grip the football. And if the 48 on the Giants maintains his balance, if Ayers maintains his balance, he's going to go ahead and block that. But he was tripping, falling back into the punter. Now it's time for the defense again for the Eagles, like they did in the first half, to get momentum back, to get a play back. Somebody on that Eagle defense stepped up and made a play, and that guy was Darby.
And on the other side of things, now the Giants, you've got a chance to get down the field at the minimum with a field goal and recapture the lead in this final minute of the third quarter. And Eli dumps it off to Darkwa out of the backfield. And he's got 3 guys wrapped around him. And very close to a first down, maybe a yard short. They'll have to run one more play here before the end of the third quarter.
And they need points because we know that the Giants defense has given up 140 points into the fourth quarter, which is the worst in the league.
Orange double, finish 3. 118, that's it.
Darkwood. And there to meet him is Bradham behind the line of scrimmage. So that will be the final play of the third quarter. It'll be third down for the Giants, trailing by 2 when we begin the fourth. We're back after a word from your local Fox station. MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands of New Jersey, 31-29. Philadelphia in front. It's been a good game. Not sure many were expecting this one to be this competitive. But here we go in the fourth on a third down for Manning. And he drops it off to Gallman, who finds his way across the 30, and that is a first down.
It's a nice little play design right here. They bring Shepard into the backfield, go him into the flat to get the linebackers running this way, allowing a screen to the backside. Nice setup by the Giants.
And now they go back to that hurry-up offense. And that is Ingram across the 45 and another first down. That'll be a gain of 15. Let's check in downstairs with Peter.
Guys, they're assessing Tavares King for a potential concussion, so this drive you might not see 12 out there.
Well, he's had 2 touchdowns in the game today as King. Had 1 all year long. And this is Gallman Close to another first down. Depending on his spot, that could be close to a 10-yard run.
Patrick Robinson down for the Eagles.
He was injured earlier, you may remember.
I guarantee you on the sidelines, though, the Giants coming out. Let's not collapse in the fourth quarter. Is Giants pride a real thing? We're going to find out this fourth quarter. Stay tuned.
Well, after the injury we saw to Ryan Shazier a couple of weeks ago in that Steelers-Bengals game, you see stuff like this. This is a double hit here for Robinson. His head got hit by the foot of Gallman, and then his neck was hit, side of the head hit by his own teammate.
Yeah, it's McLeod coming in, and it's a bang-bang sport. He got the double shot right there, and I can't tell you, man, anytime that happens or you see something like that on the field, being an ex-player, there's a fraternity. You know, the one thing you want, first of all, the first thing I check, please be moving, and thankfully Patrick Robinson's up and getting off the field on his own power. Hopefully he'll be okay. Corey Graham now takes Patrick Robinson's spot. It looks like they might move. Malcolm Jenkins can also play that nickel, but that's been the primary position of Robinson.
All right, second down and less than a yard, about a 9.5-yard run by Gallman. And they give it right back to him, and the rookie out of Clemson plows his way inside the 35 down to the 32-yard line.
Good block right here by big 77 John Jerry, pulling around. Or excuse me, 75. Lapio getting a good seal on Gallman, running with determination like he ran at Clemson for a national championship. He's a tough kid that runs bigger than he is. Nice job by Lapio getting around the corner and sealing the deal.
Stay. 118. That's it.
Going to pitch it to Vereen, and that is Brandon Graham. Big loss there of close to 12 on first down.
Anytime you're a defensive lineman and you're Brandon Graham, if you have great hands and you do not let these big bodies into you, you can make plays like that. Just slips underneath, leverage wins, and gets an outstanding TFL tackle for loss. Playing with great leverage, 55. Brandon Graham, University of Michigan. Michigan man.
Spotted that at the 42-yard line. That'll be a loss of 9. And now a lot of the Eagles fans chanting defense for the visiting team. High throw to Vereen, and then Bradham, a really nice open field tackle. Tell you, Bradham's a good player. In Buffalo for a number of years now, in his second season with Philadelphia.
Yeah, his biggest attribute is that he's solid on all 3 downs. You do not need to substitute for Bradham.
Third down and 17. And a strike put short of the first down. It does bring him within field goal range, however. It'll be a long one, but certainly more than makeable for Rosas, who is in his first year in the NFL. He's a big man. We were watching him warm up today. He was banging him from way back.
Yeah, he gets a lot of height on the ball, too. So you have to get great penetration if you want to get the block like Barnett did before that ball has a chance to climb the ladder in a hurry.
This will be a 48-yard field goal try. And it is blocked. They've had a point after block and now a field goal block. Barnett was the one who got the extra point. And Malcolm Jenkins denies the Giants a lead.
Field goal protection on the wing. Number 1 job. Nobody gets inside. Make him run outside. Red Ellison is late with his left hand. Malcolm Jenkins jumps over that, avoids any tripping with his feet, and gets in there to block the field goal. That's a lack of execution twice. Once on an extra point and once on a field goal.
And both times the 2 guys on the right side, Eric Flowers and Rhett Ellison there.
That's inexcusable right there. You cannot let a guy in that inside gap. Rule number 1.
So we've had a blocked point after, a blocked punt, and now a blocked field goal. All allowed by the New York Giants special teams. Let's go downstairs to Peter Schrager.
Guys, the Giants defense might be without B.J. Goodson, the middle linebacker. It's an ankle injury. He's questionable return. It's something to watch for the Eagles. Trey Burton left the field. He's cramping, but he's probable to return.
All right, Peter, thank you very much.
That's cramping. That's double arms out, needles in for the IVs. You'll never cramp the rest of your life. Halftime. Avoid cramping. Arms out, needles in, IV it up.
Well, he did.
What a throw.
That's a straight drop right there. That's something that really plagued Aguilar the last couple of years, but not much this year. It's only his third drop all season long.
It's a big-time throw from the far hash on a deep out cut right where he could get it. He just lost concentration right at the last second. That's a big-time throw, though. That's Nick Foles. I'll tell you, he's so far today, whatever happens, number 9 is holding up his end of the bargain.
And his offensive line has done a good job. He's only been sacked one time all day. Third down and 8. Great protection. And a flag comes in. Aguilar hangs on this time right at the 50, and that's a first down if it stands. And it will.
I think I'm going to get Cockrell on Ertz. Holding.
Holding. Defense number 37. That penalty is declined as a result of the play. Is a first down.
That's why he's such a problem. Right here is going to be your holding. The route's going to be up here. But this is why Ertz is such a problem. Because he's so strong, you have to almost hold him, and the big tight ends are able to run through any type of pressure. Again, a well-thrown ball by Nick Foles.
Well, you call that, you can call holding on every play in the league. Moses.
They've been calling it today, so you got to know how the officials are calling it, and it tells you what you're allowed to do and not do as the game goes on.
So a first down after the completion, double pump by Foles. Every time he's gone to double pump today, it's been an errant throw. And let's check in with Carissa Thompson in Los Angeles.
We're going to go back to New Orleans. Tom, Saints up 17-13 in the fourth. Drew Brees connects with Michael Thomas for that 4-yard score. Saints lead this one 24-13. Tom?
Michael Thomas from your alma mater, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Big-time player.
Catching the ball from Drew Brees. Boiler up.
Hey, Bundy 4-7. Bundy 4-7.
Ajayi, instrumental in that last touchdown drive, had a 32-yard reception, a 22-yard run. He's averaging nearly 5 yards per carry here today when they give him the ball, but that is primarily because of the 22-yard run. He's been bottled up the rest of the day outside of that run.
Yeah, he's a guy that I think that the more carries he gets, he's one of those guys that the stronger he becomes. He'll be instrumental and more involved in his offense as you move toward the playoffs, I believe, for Doug Peterson and the Eagles.
So here's another third down. The Eagles are 4 out of 9. Under 10 minutes to go here at MetLife Stadium. And Ertz stays on his feet and he'll get a first down. A missed tackle by Darian Thompson. And Ertz able to move the chains to the New York 35.
So the difference between winning 2 games and 11 games, when somebody has a chance to make a play, somebody makes a play, you have your shot. Get him down in the open field. Go and keep your head up and don't tackle air. Ertz does a great job of running through that and hustling. That's the difference, and you want to know why in the National Football League there's teams that have 11 wins and 2 wins? Right there, make a play in the fourth quarter. 27 didn't, 86 did.
And the fourth quarter has just been disastrous, as Chris touched on earlier, for the Giants. They have been outscored 130 to 67. The 130 points allowed, the most in the NFL. If you're wondering for comparison's sake, the league average of points allowed in the fourth quarter is 84. The Giants have given up 130.
Make tackles on third down, you won't give up 130 points. Let's go. Giants pride. Time to put it on the line, Giants.
Second down for Foles. And Ajayi, powerful running. That's what you talked about a minute ago, and that's a first down to the 24.
You're going to see more and more of this as he's slow getting up right here, but this is that zone read play. You're going to get a pooler with it, and the Eagles do such a nice job of getting and sustaining blocks. And Ajayi rarely is tackled for a loss, or rarely does he go down sideways or backwards, always falls forward. I love the guy. I think he's a great player, and it was a great pickup by Howie Roseman and the Eagles front office to make that trade, to make your team better by bringing him into the organization.
And it's still Ajayi that is shaking up. You know, Howie Roseman, of course, once was the man, if you will, in the organization, and really lost a lot of power during the whole Chip Kelly regime and that sort of thing. And you know, Roseman has done an excellent job, whether it's drafting Carson Wentz. He acquired 2 1,000-yard rushers in LeGarrette Blount, and in the trade for Ajayi, invested heavily in that defensive line. And he really shored up a leaky secondary. Now, they've not played well here today. Been a lot of missed tackles, but Howie Roseman's done a good job. And, of course, the Giants are the one that'll be in search of a new general manager. So they mark him just short of a first down. It's 3rd and 1. Empty backfield. And Foles to keep it himself. I don't know. That is certainly not the forte of Nick Foles. Now the Eagles are saying first down.
What you're hoping is that big 6'6" frame gets over there and you motion to empty. That's an alert for defense on that short of yardage of a play. Is the quarterback sneak, and the Giants responded pretty well. It's going to be close.
I don't think he got it. We'll see. I mean, it's about as close as you can get. Maybe fractionally hasn't. Now that you look down the line at this spot.
It's a good surge by the Eagles offensive line just to get enough to pick up that yard.
Fractionally indeed. How about that? All right, so now they'll start the clock back up again. This is a must field goal try situation for this Giants defense.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to be careful. If you do blitz, you might want to bring zone pressure so you're protected against the big play.
And we mentioned that Eli Manning, going all the way back to 2013, has a total of 6 fourth quarter come from behind wins. Fourth quarter or overtime. Foles gets rid of it, and wide open Aguilar. And it'll be first and goal, Philadelphia at the 8-yard line.
Nice comeback by Aguilar, not only on the route, but also after a drop. He's going to come down here and run a 7 route. Nick Foles takes a shot. And when you're in the film room, you see your quarterback take a hit like this, yet deliver the ball on time and on target. That gets the respect as Vernon gives him a shot. But Nick Foles feels it, has the rhythm. You mentioned it. Once he gets rid of those double clutches, then that's big time for this team.
Foles 21 of 35, 211 yards. He's thrown 4 touchdowns. What a day for Nick Foles, replacing Carson Wentz, his first start of the year. Blown dead before it ever started. Timeout was called. Oh, wait a minute, we have a flag on the play. But originally there was a timeout called, and that might end up ultimately being what happened here.
Prior to the expiration of the play clock, it was a charge timeout to Philadelphia. It is their first and will be 30 seconds. There is no foul.
I was talking to Doug Peterson. I said, Doug, you know the thing you told me that Foles is going to be ready to go? He took that shot from Aaron Donald, yet he was able to fit it in a tight window. In the film room, when you're reviewing the game, the offensive line hears about it. The defensive line hears about it. We know this guy is tough. He's going to hang in there. He's going to take shots. And yet, while he's taking that shot, he is still able to deliver strikes. That's why he has respect and belief of his teammates and his coaches. And right now, probably the Eagle fans, the way he's played today.
Well, we mentioned the last time he was a starter for the Eagles was the last time they went to the playoffs in 2013. He won 8 of his 10 starts that year, threw the 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. This will be the 11th play on this drive, and it's a first down. Ajayi back in there and nowhere to go. In 2014, Foles comes back the next year off that great 2013, and they go 5-2 to begin the year. But he broke his collarbone in a game against Houston. Mark Sanchez wound up finishing the year. And that would be all for Nick Foles. He was traded to St. Louis. Started there, wound up losing his job, ironically, to Case Keenum. Then they draft Jared Goff. He goes to Kansas City as a backup. And then to Philadelphia, as Peter Schrager told you earlier, is a free agent this offseason. Aguilar sniffed out beautifully by the Giants defense, and that's Rogers Cromartie. So now all of a sudden, they're a play away from holding the Eagles to a field goal try and still very much are in this game.
Rogers Cromartie, Tom, because of that and why they're able maybe to hold the field goal, had a great job of penetrating and splitting the 2 blockers. This is the rule of the screen. He's going to do his job, split these guys, Apple's out here, and the help's coming from here, and there's no place for Aguilar to go. Excellent defense and discipline by Cromartie. Got to keep your eye on Ertz. You know, we keep saying that. Everybody knows it.
And now Foles throws and denied the end zone is Torrey Smith.
Well, they had Ertz doubled, which allowed Torrey Smith to come in underneath.
They're going to go for it. No, they're not. Now they're sending out the field goal unit. Excuse me, Chris.
Yeah, you have to send out the field goal unit. You have to go up and make it a touchdown game as opposed to a field goal game. Smart call, and it's the right call. And trust your defense to make a play.
It's a nice play by Cockrell.
Yeah,
denying Smith the end zone. So now a 20-yard field goal try by Elliott. He hit that franchise-long 61-yarder at the buzzer to beat the Giants in Week 3, and this is good. To make it a 5-point game. There's still hope, though, in the big city. Trailing 34-29, 3:56 to go. All right, Eli Manning and the Giants with a chance here. More than enough time. Trailing 34-29. The Giants have all 3 timeouts left. This team has not scored 30 points in a game since last year. 29 games. And that wasn't during last season. That was the last game of the year before. So this is Raymond. And he's dropped right at the 20-yard line. All righty, bowl season kicking into gear here on Fox Wednesday. Foster Farms Bowl, Arizona and Purdue. And then next Thursday, the Holiday Bowl, Washington State taking on Michigan State. And that'll be on FS1.
Going to be 2 different coaches.
Oh, very
Mike Leach and Mark D'Antonio, the Pirate.
I'm not sure you could find 2 human beings further apart than Mark D'Antonio and Mike Leach, both excellent coaches.
And great guys.
Yeah. So here we go. Do the Giants have a comeback win in them? And that one is thrown to Shepard, and he made the catcher, did he? It looked like he dropped it incomplete, but there is a flag. So this could be going against Darby, who is in coverage of Sterling Shepard. Yeah, it is.
Illegal contact. Number 41, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
And you know what? That's a good penalty. Why? Because he's getting beat on a double move. And he's been beat on a couple double moves. But watch this. Shepard's going to come up and set himself down. And Darby knew that he was beat right there. So he did the right thing to cut him off to avoid anything over the top. When you feel like you're beat in this situation, you go ahead and take the penalty.
All right, so first down, and Manning does. Oh, should have been intercepted. Of course, Bradham had 2 of those against the Rams last week. One of them right at the goal line.
Just a tremendous job of Bradham right here, reading the eyes of Eli Manning, coming off of his run, getting back into the throwing lane, and taking a good play, which should have been a great play, but he dropped the ball.
You might want to work on that drill throwing baseball for Brad.
Hands up.
That's 3 sure drops for interceptions for Brad. A good player, but it's a bad spot in the hands. Manning looking around, throws off balance, and a beautiful throw and reception made by Roger Lewis Jr. There is a penalty flag down. Boy, what a beautiful throw by Manning.
Now they're going to get Eagles for holding right here.
Defense number 41. That penalty is declined. The result of the play, the first down.
That's 2 penalties on his drive by the standout corner Ronald Darby, healthy again, missed 8 weeks in his season with an injured ankle.
Roger Lewis did a good job of route adjusting, saw his quarterback in trouble. Eli moving to a throwing lane. Lewis adjusted well. Gave him a target downfield.
Gonna hand it off. And Gallman to the 47. We check in with Carissa Thompson, and now a fight breaks out.
Have a good one there, Tom. Here's another good one. Aaron Rodgers finds the other Rodgers, Richard Rodgers, for this 24-yard score. Marvin Evans recovers the onside kick here. Packers down 7 with 2 minutes left. Tom?
We send it back there to Carissa, and meanwhile here all of a sudden, right in front of the Philadelphia bench, a couple of players started pushing and shoving.
It's going to be Shepard and Jenkins, I believe, Tom, going after it, battling. Let him go. Play ball.
They let him go. No penalty flag, so the clock continues to run. We're at 2:50. Boy, that's very odd to see no penalty flags there. Here's Gallman. He escapes a short tackle. And that's something that Jim Schwartz has talked about the last 2 weeks. Very poor tackling by the Eagle defense.
Exactly, and this is the one right here where Shepard and Jenkins are going at it. Malcolm didn't like that, and they're both holding, but you got to maintain your composure and play ball.
First down for the Giants. Eli looking to Lewis. And nearly the one-handed catch with Darby in coverage.
They keep attacking Darby, huh? He's up there playing press coverage. That's an automatic read for Eli, going right to it, trusting his man to make a play over Darby. And that Darby's got the red X on him right now. That's the target.
2:37 to go, 34-29. Philadelphia in front. Giants need a touchdown. That slant pattern's been there all day long, and that's Shepard to the 30. His 8th catch of the game, knocking on the door of 120 receiving yards.
The Giants' offensive line has done a really good job of protecting Eli so far, giving him time to survey the field and find the open area.
This is 4 down territory.
Absolutely.
Down by 5, so it's a 3rd and 3. They don't have to run a play before the 2-minute warning, but they will. And there's that slant again. I mean, it's like clockwork. And that'll be a first down, and we're at the 2-minute warning. Can Eli Manning lead the Giants in an upset over Philadelphia? You've had a point after blocked in this game. You've had a field goal blocked in this game. If you had those 4 points back, a field goal try would win this one for the Giants. Instead, New York needs a touchdown to take the lead. 1:57 to go, and Vereen is wrapped up, maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Kendricks there, Graham there, a host of others, Bradham as well.
No hurry here. Giants have all 3 timeouts left. So you get a good read on what you want to do. Be nice to have OBJ in there right now. Brandon Marshall. Got to play with what you have. Somebody step up and make a play.
Good protection, and there is Shepard again on just that slant crossing pattern. And that is a first down inside the 10.
Because it's Evan Ingram clearing out the middle of the field, which allows Shepard to come underneath the area because the middle of the field is being cleared out because Ingram is running hard away from the ball as a decoy.
Right on Manning was Kendricks, and the pass is caught. And slow to get up.
McLeod
is Sterling Shepard. McLeod also shaken up, and now the Giants going to call a timeout. So the point you left on the field, seemingly a gimme, a point after, blocked by Barnett in the first quarter. You have the block punt, which ultimately led to a Philadelphia touchdown. And then the blocked field goal. Now you start chasing to try and make up for it. You're going for 2. Bottom line is you've left 4 for sure points without even taking the touchdown into the conversation after the blocked punt.
This will be a frustrating day for Tom Quinn. It was a good job just today. They did not have their best day. Can the offense, can Eli Manning find the magic, bail them out?
And they charged Philadelphia with that timeout, by the way. So here's Manning throwing to the end zone, and that could have been intercepted by Darby. Oh, he just missed it.
Yeah, Lewis stops his route. I don't know why he stops his route. He gets in a little hand fighting right here. Eli's thrown to that corner right there. That's his target, is the orange pylon, and Lewis stopped his route early on, which screwed up the timing and allowed Darby to turn and get a play on the ball.
It's third down and goal now. From the 11. And they run it on 3rd and goal. And Vereen gets down inside the 6, close to the 5-yard line, and I'm sure a timeout will be taken. Surprisingly, it's a timeout by Philadelphia. So it's 4th and goal now for Spagnuolo and the Giants. New York came out rolling. Touchdown on its first 3 possessions of the game. A team that averages 15 points per game. But the Eagles have blocked an extra point. They blocked the punt, which led to a touchdown. They blocked the field goal. And you see the numbers on Manning. He's thrown today for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. And what about Nick Foles? 4 touchdowns without a turnover, but it's all now down to this.
There's 2 ways to play this as a defense. You either bring pressure or you drop 8, defend the goal line.
What would you do?
I drop and defend the goal line. Bring 3 and drop and defend the goal line.
He's going to be on the right tackle.
False start. Offense number 68. It's a 5-yard penalty. Because the clock was not running, this foul is not subject to a 10-second runoff.
This is Chris Long right here and Bobby Hart. Chris Long had the big play last week right now, and Bobby Hart jumping a little bit early did not hear or was not in sync with the cadence that Eli was singing out.
All right,
Here
so
we go.
Go from just outside the 5 to now just outside the 10, and it is 4th down and goal.
See if Ingram right here is covered. A double. Defend that goal line for the Eagles.
They bring 4 on the rush, and Manning to the end zone, incomplete with an eye on Ingram, who is looking for a flag. Back in coverage was Corey Graham.
Nice job of Corey Graham. He's been around. He knows what his responsibility is. He's going to stay outside, understanding his help is inside, not jumping inside whatsoever, is in great position, and a great no call by the officials. Outstanding job by the officials, not calling anything on that. Letting him play.
Well, now we have a flag. Unable to hear the official. I think it's an unsportsmanlike penalty. Not sure who they called the unsportsmanlike penalty on, but it will be a New York Giant. Maybe Ingram?
Somebody was upset about the call, but
maybe Shepard?
Yeah, give credit to Corey Graham, though. With Patrick Robinson out, Corey Graham was his replacement. understanding what his job and responsibility is and having trust that the middle help was going to be there, so Ingram had to run his route right into him. Did a good job of keeping his hands away, not getting a PI.
And that penalty is against Sterling Shepard. 43 seconds left. The Giants can stop it 3 times. And this is LeGarrette Blount. Giants will call a timeout. 35 seconds remain. So with a win for Philadelphia, if they hang on, they are guaranteed a home game in the playoffs with a win here today. Minnesota won. So the bottom line is, if Philadelphia wins one more game and Minnesota loses one more game, then the Eagles will have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. But the big story is going to be around the NFL. Everybody wondering, what would this Eagles offense look like with Nick Foles at quarterback rather than the man many feel was the leader in the clubhouse, if you will, before the injury, Carson Wentz, for the league's most valuable player. And at least on this Sunday in the Meadowlands of New Jersey, Nick Foles has more than answered the question.
And I'm reminded of the Meadowlands of New Jersey in 1990 when Phil Simms, the great Phil Simms, who I thought was a tremendous competitor, was 11-3, and he got hurt. Then they go to the bullpen. Jeff Hostetler comes out and leads them to the Super Bowl. I think Nick Foles is more than capable of doing that.
And of course, this was 1990. Simms breaks his foot week 15 against the Bills. And then Hostetler, the last 2 regular season games, picks up wins, the number 2 seed, and ultimately, after beating the Bears and the 49ers, a rematch with the Bills in Super Bowl 25. And a 20-19 win. Now, having said all that, it should be noted, 1990 is a long time ago. And yes, you can draw from that. But let's look over the last 5 years of teams that wound up in the playoffs. And they lost their starting quarterback near the end of the year. Last year, Oakland and Miami. Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill. They were out. The year before that, Andy Dalton in Cincinnati. The year before that, Carson Palmer and Christian Ponder. Not one of those 5 teams won a single playoff game with the quarterback who replaced the starter. That's just in the last 3 years in the NFL.
I think a good sign is the day that Foles has had today, 24-38, 237 and 4 touchdowns. My concern, if I'm an Eagles fan, wouldn't be about Foles. I think Foles can do it. My concern would be, I have the worst offense, or one of the worst offenses in the league, putting 29 points up on me, and I gave up a big bunch of plays today, big plays, chunk yards. They need to get that tightened up a little bit. Then I think the Eagles would be the favorite if they get their defense tightened.
Jim Schwartz, an outstanding defensive mind. Now here we go on a punt.
Remember, he bobbled the last one.
Oh, I tell you, he's lucky he didn't punt that ball right into the pile. So this will be Raymond to the 27. This one not over yet. I don't know if this is what Donnie Jones was trying to do, but he's lucky this wasn't kicked into one of his own players.
And I think he's one step, and he almost missed the football. He kicked the top of the ball, and that was close to being blocked. You're right. So here, for the Giants, you want to get something at least probably to the 50-yard line, 45-yard line to give your guy a chance to make a Hail Mary at the end.
Well, you're out of timeouts.
Has to be to the sidelines.
13 seconds remain. Yep, to the sideline it is. And Ingram will step out of bounds at the 8. So with 8 seconds left.
That took 5 seconds, so if you want to do another one, it takes 5 seconds. We'll give you 3 seconds to throw the Hail Mary. And if you're the Eagles, you still have to play it safe. You might want to be able to defend that sideline and get up there and make a tackle before you get out of bounds.
Well, this could be some razzle-dazzle coming up here. They've taken out every one of their offensive linemen except their center. So here we go. That's Lewis, and that didn't fool anybody. Malcolm Jenkins coming up to make the tackle. And the Philadelphia Eagles win their 12th game of the year. And the New York Giants, for the first time since 1974, lose a 12th game of the season. We're back to East Rutherford to wrap it up in a moment.